Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia, Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
And what is up? What is going on, good people? We are in the building. Hand me that. Come on, reach. Actually, come over here and plug it up. I'm sorry, you see me handle off the air stuff. Come here. Actually, plug it up because I can't reach that cord. Watch out, because you about to have your head in the shot. All right, what is going on, everybody? What is going on? Oh, hand it to me. Still can't reach it. All right, thank you. And there we go. All right, welcome to the show today. Now that I'm officially set and ready to go and got my tablet ready to charge, it's been at 0% for like the last 72 hours, but it's ready to go now. Well, should be ready to go as soon as it boot up. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming on in. You see the title. The title went through some reconstruction. It initially said modern women or something like the modern woman search for a leader, but it's still tied in to the current title. It's Kevin Samuels and Derrick Jaxn, two sides of the same coin. Did the did the sisterhood just hop out of one car and get into another one? You know, that's an interesting concept. Interesting thing to talk about, to think about here. Obsidian ran the idea past me. He said he's been seeing in some places online where they have been talking about that, been having that discussion more or less. So we're going to explore that discussion. We're going to definitely explore that today. Because my initial take on it, I don't know what his take on it is, just my initial take on it is that women do search for a leader. But I'm not talking about leading in the sense that makes sense to me. I'm not talking about leading in the sense of, leader in the household. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that look up on high leader, that leader that they looking up and looking out to, like that's the church, the pastor, that type of deal. It's just another reiteration of that. Some people go to a church where there's a friendly pastor that tells them what they want to hear. Some people go to churches where there's a more mean, rougher, Old Testament style pastor, a more fire and brimstone pastor that tells them what they need to hear. That was my initial take when I heard the notion that it's two sides of the same coin. That was my initial take on it. They're just going from one pastor to the next. I remember I saw a situation where even now it says Casual Friday. I lost all my suits in a boating accident. No, they're at the dry cleaners. That's not even though they need to go, even though I do need to take a lot of clothes to the cleaners. But no, yes, it is sort of Casual Friday up in here, I guess we can go with that. Shout out to Snuggles. Says it's supposed to be she sells seashells by the seashore. I don't know why that was important. I don't know why that needed to be said, but I'm glad you said it, Snuggles, and I'm glad you're here.
Hi, I'm Snuggle. Snuggly softness. That's really less expensive.
Right on, Snuggles. Right on. We needed that. E Capone in the building. E Capone is in the building. Whose child is that, Bernard? Are you referring to this child here? That would be my child. And that would be me in the picture. That picture was taken in 2017. I got to get rid of it because it's getting old. Time flies. I was a younger man with a skinnier face then. That was back when I was in good shape and was out there single, out there chasing them holes. But So yeah, I've been back I was in the gym actually at like after midnight, trying to get back in the gym, get down to size, get my jawline to come back in. Right now my face a little too fat. I can't stand it. But but yeah, that's a picture from 2017. He was 9. Man, time flies because he just had a birthday, so he just turned 13 now. So I gotta update the pictures because he don't look well. He still look like that, but he don't look like that no more, and I don't even look like that no more. That's how much time flies. He got taller and I got wider, like so yeah. But no, that is my young one, my youngest one. My youngest one is 13. My jawline is coming back. Hey, it do be like that when you work out. It's something about when you lose weight and you lose that weight on your face. That's where you see it the most. Like, yeah, you drop pounds and your body, and if you got a little extra little stuff going around the midsection, yeah, you lose all of that and you could see it. But in your face is where it's like when your cheeks suck in, that's how you really know you've lost some weight. Somebody said my hairline look, man, y'all just all on me today. My hair, well, it's not lined up. Look, like goddamn, this ain't a fucking fashion show. I ain't a goddamn model. I can't keep a fresh, crisp hairline for you Negroes every day. What the fuck y'all think this is? Can't be shiny and fresh every day. I can't even do the shit half the time. Yeah, hairline a little shaky. It needs some work. Yeah. Hairline a little shaky today. It is what it is. This is what it's like when you on camera. When you on camera, yeah, y'all gonna catch me slipping. Yeah. That's just the reality. Said I got the Muslim beard on Allah Akbar. Yeah, the beard even be struggling sometimes, but it's looking good now, but the beard be struggling sometimes. It be having a little Anthony Hamilton moments up in some areas. It be getting a little Anthony Hamilton, a little wrinkled up. I got to keep the fresh berries and stuff on it and all that. Yeah, it's hard work. Hard work. I don't got no Allah Akbar beard. My beard don't even grow that much. The best and longest my beard really. That picture right there is probably let me see. Let me find one from the same day. Let me find another picture. Hold on. Right here. This is a picture from the same day where that's probably the best my beard ever looked. You can't really tell because it ain't that zoomed in, but that's the best. That's the best it ever looked. It don't grow beyond where it's at right now. It just don't. It don't. Like, some people, yeah, like y'all see Angry Man, he can cut his beard off, and then a month later, it seemed like it's all the way down here. Mine don't do that. My beard, it stopped right here. It just, yeah, nigga hair. It just stopped growing and get tangled up at some point. Bernard Blackson. What you talking about? The muscle shirt with the muscle sold separately? Yeah, the muscle shirts don't come with the muscles. You got to go get them separately. I'm working on it. Trying to get the muscles back and drop a little bit of this weight. The little series I've been doing with Ike been actually embedded in everything that we talk about is really like some good, life hack tips, things to do to, make sure you're staying focused and, having good habits and doing the things that you're supposed to do to keep yourself on track. There's been some good stuff in there. I've been actually applying a lot of the stuff that me and Ike been talking about. I've been actually applying it, keeping myself more focused, been more in the gym, been watching what I eat, even though I'm watching what I eat. I don't mean it's healthy. I'm just watching it and then eating it. Shout out to Clue in the building. The next nigga coming here and say Casual Friday. Y'all gonna make me turn the camera off today, man. Y'all gonna make me turn the camera off. Oh shoot, yeah, funny, man. Y'all is too funny. Zero had a good stream going yesterday. The start of it, if I understand it right, was a follow-up to what to what happened on my show. But that part aside, I tuned in later. Zero, I don't know if Man of Tomorrow was on there. Complex. I got to call Complex. I think, yeah, damn it. My memory, goldfish memory. Complex sent me a text message and I forgot to respond to it. I got to hit up Complex. Yeah. But anyway, but Bernard got on pleated khakis under the desk. No, pajama pants, nigga. Yeah, Death Racer. I stay in the clouds. Stay in the clouds. Cannon Wiles in the building with the $1 super chat. Appreciate it.
Wait a minute. What's this? This ain't enough. Make it enough.
No, it's a fairly decent conversation. They were talking to Jessica X. Jessica X was on there. Zero, Complex, Jessica X. I think maybe Man of Tomorrow. They were talking about the concept of whether or not a woman can be blown out. Her vag. Whether or not the vag can be blown out. I'm not hitting a smoky thing for all of those. You just sent me 5 $1 super chats. You about to get a... Hold on. Shout out to you, Cannon Wiles. Appreciate you. They still coming? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sir Tice in the building. You're copying my style with the V-neck tee, Bernard. Dude, all I rock is V-necks. Blew it out. All right, we at the $8. Good, perfect. Hold on. We're at the $8.
That'll be $8.
Yeah, love a V-neck. Love a V-neck. And this one cool because it got a button right here. See, it opens up. It got a button. So when you get real buff and you get like some upper chest muscles, you can like kind of, you could really be flexing in this one. You could really be flexing in this one. So yeah. Yeah, no, I love the V-necks, love the V-necks. But yeah, they were talking about whether or not a vag could get blued out, and Jessica took the position that no, a vag can't get blued out because it snaps on back, because that's what vages do. They just snap on back. They pop out babies and they snap right back. And then it was either Complex or Zero. I think Zero who said we could see a young upcoming bright-eyed, bushy-tailed porn star start her career, and then after 3 years or so, she has the wizard sleeve effect. Man, I was done. Maybe that's a regular term that people know about. I never heard of a wizard sleeve. He said her back was like a wizard sleeve. Just think about every wizard you ever saw. and how they shirt was regular and it just got wide. It got wide around the sleeve. Man, I was so done after that. But that is an interesting discussion where I'm borderline on the side of the sisterhood when it comes to this, where I will say, yes, they can get blown out, but everything is on a bell curve. Some of them snap back and recover. I told the embarrassing story of that stuff. I need to quit telling all these stories, but I'm transparent. So the chick that I messed with, that the chick that I messed with before temporarily, we had sex about 5 or 6 times with a condom on. Yeah, she was 36, 7, 8. I forgot how old she was. About 38. Had about 5 kids, and said she had an exorbitantly high body count. She told me about her body count. I don't know how we got on the subject. It's not like I was just asking, but we just ended up. She said she had been around blocks, and I've been around the block a few times. I told you. She said she'd been around blocks, and she was tight. It was a perfectly tight vag. So that that had me of the view that, I'm sitting there stroking my beard in deep thoughts. And so I do think with some of them, I think some of them either come big or come small, or some of them have a propensity to get stretched and blown out, and some of them have a better propensity to snap back. I think that's generally what it is. And Jessica X was arguing pretty strongly for, no, they snap back, they stretch, they do this, they pop out babies and they come back and they do this. I mean, that's potentially a self-serving argument. Maybe perhaps she's been kamikazed a few times, who knows? But sorry, Jessica. But you get whenever a woman is in that conversation, she's making a self-serving argument. It sounds like it. Sort of like the guy in the conversation saying about size. Size doesn't matter. That guy in that conversation saying size doesn't matter. Always like, okay, yeah, you're making a self-serving argument there. But no, it was a funny conversation, man. Y'all had me cracking up late at night. I think you fired it up, I think around 9 or 10, so it was pretty damn late at night when I it was well into the AM when I finally put it on there, and it was like, whoa. It was a funny conversation. But Nar, when are you going to have a stream about the question Zero asked? Well, women help legislate laws that can make the playing field even. Goldfish memory. Oh, and Obsidian is down there, so I'm going to bring Obsidian up real soon after I answer your question and deal with another super chat on the table. My thoughts on that is, if Zero is simply talking about culturally converting them to the point to where they may vote a certain way, then yeah. But far as them will women, okay, hold on, let me make sure I read the question right. Bernard, when are you going to have a stream about the question Zero asks? Will women help legislate laws that can make the playing field even? Yeah, I think rather not. It's a weird thing. Actually, I go to what the lead attorney said. Anything that a woman can do to help do that, a man can do the same thing. So I think what's embedded in the question is just a intellectual, cultural conversion to a thought process. I'm not quite sure with that, because when you go to actually passing the laws, it's mostly men in position to pass the law. So I think what you're doing is lobbying women to think different and vote different. if I understand what zero, if I understand what's meant by that. Because, for example, the woman on the panel who, you know, she's not some mover and shaker who's going to help pass laws, but if she does have the mindset and the mentality, then yes, when things are getting put on the books, she probably will think, okay, let's make things fair. Or even if she was socially converted out of a position, so to speak.
Hi, I'm Snuggle, Snuggly Softness. That's really less expensive.
If that's what's going on. Zero is referring back to Jessica X's argument. He says her argument was that they can't be blued out. Mine was that they can, not a specific number or percentage, just the fact that they can. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I have seen some wizard sleeves. Yes. And Zero, who's definitely a part of $10 Nation. One. Hold up. There we go.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want. Everything? Everything. You.
You need the ERA to make it even. Yeah. Yep, that's where the true believers of the feminists will actually end up helping the cause of men when it comes to men's rights, men's MRA, men's rights activism. Yeah, the true believer feminists will actually end up indirectly helping, because they believe that everything should be equal so they can get in there, roll up their sleeves and outcompete men. But then there's the half-stepping feminists who don't believe they can outcompete men, but they mouth those platitudes, but what they really want is an unfair advantage. There are those. But shout out to Mr. Chain Vigils. He said you need the ERA to make it.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
I've remixed the title 4 times. Just 4 times. 4 times. We actually talked about, Jessica, how you were making that self-serving argument about how how the vag can't be blown out. Very self-serving argument. Yeah, I got jokes. I got jokes this morning. It can't be blown out. Trust me, I know. They came through the door talking about my hairline today, so nobody's safe. Nobody's safe today. All right. Obsidian, come save me, man. I'm out here struggling. Let me put my earbuds in.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
What is going on?
Yeah, man, I heard about the situation with your beard. Let me help you out a little bit there.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Yeah, and as a very, 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 very moderate Muslim, I can feel your pain, brother.
Yeah,
I've never been able to grow a sunnah myself. Best I can do is what you see on the screen there, and I have grown a little bit of a full beard there, but it's more like a shadow than a full-on beard. That's about the best I can do with it. So,
yeah. No, I mean, I'm happy with what I can grow. It can't grow beyond this, but I mean, like for the people like yourself or my brother, who's a year older than me, he can't grow a beard at all. He just got a few little loose strings here, He can't grow a beard. He barely got a mustache. So I don't complain.
It's definitely hereditary, definitely genetic.
Mhm.
And as you just mentioned with your own brother, that's only a year older than you. I mean, it's not something that's uniform. It can skip around, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the way, you probably know this. I don't know if you do or not, but Africa boasts the most genetic diversity. Let me make sure I say this right. The continent of Africa boasts the most human genetic diversity on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been those who have theorized that one reason why we African Americans, for example, can vary, so greatly in appearance, even within a nuclear family, is in part due to the fact that the continent of Africa has so much human genetic diversity. That's part of the reason. So that has been proposed. So yeah.
Right on. Cannon Wiles in the building with the $2 super chat.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Zero says correction. Age and babies is her argument. So age and having babies is what makes it get blown out or wore out or creates the wizard sleeve effect. But if you just age, yeah, because she spent a lot of time getting kamikaze. So yeah, so age and usage could directly correlated. So yeah, that is okay.
Yeah, let me weigh in on this burning question that probably one of the world's leading problems that we have to solve. Can
yeah.
be blown out? The answer is obviously yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now we can get into the weeds with it, and I think that's the real. There's two major issues here at work. One is the details. So is it due to babies? Is it due to, having too many sex with too many guys? Whatever. There's that. But I think the main issue that really bothers a lot of black women is, so, I've been, David Buss, I've mentioned him many times here. He has a new book out called When Men Behave Badly. And it focuses on, he wrote it during the heyday of the Me Too movement. So it deals a lot with an evolutionary psychological view of male sexual psychology and what the cues are and so forth that lead them to, sexual harassment and, sexual assault and all that sort of thing. And he makes the argument that the big driver in that is female sexual choice, and that women should have the right. It's a human right for women to have the right to determine with who, or with whom, I should say, with whom and when and under what circumstances they have sex. Now, I agree with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with them. I think it should be enshrined in the UN Human Rights Charter and so forth. I got no problem with that. Here's the trick, though. Will women and men like David Buss also enshrine the right of men to engage in non-sexual, shout out to Alan Roger Curry on this one, their right to engage in non-sexual activity with whom and when and under what circumstances that they choose? Will they be okay with that?
Okay. They kind of don't have a choice to be okay with it, but not to be okay with it, or but to be okay with it, because when we're talking about non-sexual, we're not talking about hiring practices or nothing like that. We're talking about you just bluntly ignoring the hell out of any woman that you deem worthy of ignoring. Put it like that. Right. They really can't legislate that. Now, women will throw a hissy fit about it. If men, like, this goes back to the Kevin Samuels conversation where she was, the woman was saying, well, I don't want to have to smile at random guys. Okay, so how would you feel if just every random man completely 100% ignored you? Oh, no. But so yeah, so if men just put a certain percentage of the population on complete ignore, reverse the 80-20 rule, only 20% of women will get non-sexual attention from men. That 80% will lose their shit. Yeah,
which could happen. See, we're under the impression that everything is fixed, and it's not dynamic. This is a very fluid, dynamic situation. Things can change on a dime. If we've learned anything over the past year, it should be that things can change on a dime. It's not, static. It doesn't move at a slug's pace. Things are very quick moving, very dynamic. So my question, and I plan to have Professor Buss back. I interviewed him some years back when he had the other book, The Evolution of Desire, out. I plan to have him back to talk about this. And in light of the Steve Harvey reignited controversy about whether or not men and women can be friends, and Dr. Buss covered this in his book, Can Men and Women Be Friends? I talked about it on yesterday's show, me and Ramil show. My thing is, if we know that according to Darwin, that the female of just about any species is extremely picky with regard to sexual partners, and we know that's true. We have evidence all the way into the present day that when it comes to casual sexual mating, and here I'm going to give a nod to our long lost brother, because he truly is lost, C Boogie Productions and others. Yes, when it comes to short-term casual sex, appearance matters a lot. Okay, fair enough. So here is the question. When it comes to long-term mating, and since we're talking about C Boogie, our long lost brother, he was keen to remind all of us. And I think it's very poignant in light of today's topic, what happened last month. One Miss Nicole Michelle, when asked, who would you pick if you could go with Obsidian or Derrick Jaxn? She said, and I quote, for a good time, I'm definitely taking Derrick. But for a husband, I'm taking Obsidian. Now, we understand that context. Sexually, I'm going with Derrick. But non-sexually, I'm going with Obsidian. Okay. Okay, this is right in my wheelhouse. I'm the dating coach for the non-select guy. Watch this. So here's my question. Here's the trick. Here's my question. All right, then. Fair enough. That's my lane. This is what C Boogie said. You got to stay in your lane. Okay. The non-sexual, long-term, hubby guy, provider male, that's my lane. Fair enough. Here's my question. Here's my question. What do I get in return for that? What would you do for me?
Wizard sleeve.
Since it's clear that I do have value, if you agree that this guy is great for being a husband, then he has to have value. Am I wrong?
You're right.
So what do I get in exchange for the value? See, that's the question that's never asked, and I never get a straight answer. What do you get for your non-sexual value?
Okay, Janu, wizard sleeve with 3 gray hairs on it. See,
being a businessman, you and I both are businessmen, we understand the old adage dating from 1526 that a fair exchange is no robbery. See, we understand that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a businessman, or for that matter, businesswoman, you understand that it's all about getting value. That's what it's all about. So maybe one reason, hearkening back to yesterday's conversation on the question of marriage, who benefits more from it, etc. Maybe one reason why so many black men, the largest cohort of bachelors in the country, confirmed bachelors in the country, over 40 black men, maybe one reason why they're not marrying is because they don't see any value in that. Black women are not bringing value for a non-sexual mate. They're not bringing value.
Well, what do you mean by non-sexual mate? Because
again, let me.
They are having sex if
hang
they're
on,
together. Okay,
but we agree. You're right, but we agree it ain't the kind of Derrick Jaxn sex, right? That's all right.
What? What do you mean?
In other words, you're not getting the hot guy sex. You're kind of getting the, a perfunctory, missionary, give it the old college try sex, right?
I don't know. I don't know what that. I mean, okay, you're speaking from the perspective of, okay, that's their counter argument that a non-select guy, when he's with a woman, she's just BSing around through the sex. I don't know if that's actually accurate or not. Right. I can't. So
I'm accepting our interlocutors. All right, I mentioned our long lost brother C Boogie. I'm going along with his side of the macosphere side of the argument, if you will. I'm accepting their premise. Fair enough. I'm not arguing it. I'm accepting its premise on its face. The hot guy gets the hot sex. You're in this lane. You got to just get the the perfunctory sex. Okay, fair enough. So brothers have decided, using the lingua franca of business, brothers have decided that they're not interested in that. They're not buying. It's pretty straightforward. Brothers decide who gets married. Am I wrong?
That is correct. I think, well, to skip to the end, I think what you're saying is that because they're giving dead starfish sex to a non-select guy who may very well be the right type of guy for the long-term results that they would need in terms of marriage or family and consistency and stability and all of that, because they're giving dead starfish sex to this guy, that guy is like, then this ain't even worth it for me. I'm just gonna go and just be a confirmed bachelor, and hey, when I get some casual sex, I get it. When I don't, I don't. But oh well. But I'm not about to hitch my wagon to some dead starfish.
Right.
That's ultimately the argument that you're making there. It may be some truth in that. But real quick, before I get completely behind on the super chats, shout out to W. Alfonso says, I just want to hear the $2 super chat.
These last $2. I'm not gonna lose.
And I got two of the $2. So I don't know which one that you wanted. So I'm.
Go, man. I got $2 for you, man. I know I'm a little short, but you know, you can.
Which one you wanted? So I gave them both to you. We got Harry Abili in the building. Says, just to clarify, brother Obsidian's point, there is more genetic diversity in Africa alone than the rest of the world put together. I think he said that.
That's correct.
I mean, I thought you said it that way, but either way, we got it right now. Anyway, shout out to Harry Abili. Appreciate it. Everyday Valet says, I disagree with the women having. Excuse me. I said, I disagree with women having kids. My girl actually got tighter after my son. That's okay. That's a new one. Okay. Good for you. He said, for that. I never heard of that.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's new information. And yes, we did need to know exactly how tight your wife's pussy was. Thank you. We needed to know that. Yeah.
So,
hold on. I got a few more Obsidian.
Yeah.
I wonder how that conversation went when your son was old enough. You know, little homie, I would like to thank you for tightening your mom's vag for me. I really appreciate that, little guy. You saved a marriage. Shout out to JR in the building. Says, is that the herbivores? Japan? I don't know what that has to do with anything.
These last $2. I'm not gonna lose.
All right, and we also got. Oh shoot, I think I lost him. Wait, no, we got everything. We got everybody. We all caught up. And as Bowdy Thug is saying right there, hit the like button. Let's get the likes up. We got 349 in the building, only 107 on the likes. That is ridiculous. We should be able to bump that immediately up to 175 and then slow crawl to 200. So come on, let's get these likes up. We in here. We in the building. We 44 minutes into the stream, 355 people in here. So we got it. We got the ball rolling. The likes should be rolling as well. So let's get with it. Let's get to it. Let's get the likes up. I don't do that thing where they play music or sit back and stop the show until the likes get up, because I'm not that cocky. I'm a little humble still. I think y'all might leave if I stop the show. So I don't want to play that game with y'all. So I'm just asking. Get the goddamn likes up. All right. Let's go. So go ahead. I cut you off. You were
So again, what's interesting, and I'm bringing back the Nicole Michelle anecdote because it highlights something here. We all agree that men highly value sex. Nobody disagrees with that. But, and again, I got to give a nod to Alan Roger Curry on this. He's 100% correct for highlighting this point. Can we also agree that women highly value non-sexual, the non-sexual aspects of men? Can we agree on that?
We absolutely agree on that. And I shout out, ARC changed the way that I viewed all interactions with men and women on that, because I could see it, but I didn't understand that how much women practically had an insatiable lust for that non-sexual attention.
Right.
And once I realized that, once I heard him break that down, that made me realize that, oh, this isn't going anywhere. She's it's already exactly where she wants it to be. I'm thinking, okay, am I 2 favors away from getting some sex? Am I one more long listening conversation to her problems away from getting closer to get like I was stupid. I mean, I gotta kick myself for it. I was stupid, but yeah. So when he broke that down, that when she can get non-sexual attention from you, to her the flag is planted and the game is she's winning the game right there. So yeah, so shout out to ARC on that one.
So if we know that this is the case, and we see, my argument is going back to Steve Harvey. I'm building something here. I'm building the plane while I'm flying it. So going back to the Steve Harvey thing. So my argument is that women, in this case, black, are ruthlessly strategic, not just strategic, ruthlessly strategic about the men that they align themselves with, both sexually and non-sexually. Would you agree with that?
That women are ruthlessly strategic.
That black women are ruthlessly strategic with regard to the men that they align themselves with, both sexually and non-sexually. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I can agree with that.
Okay. So therefore, going back to Nicole Michelle, it's no accident, and you talked about this several times yourself.
I didn't talk about Nicole Michelle several times.
But I'm about to make a point.
I just want to make that clear.
You made the point yourself that black women know exactly who's who. They know who's who is. They know this guy over here, I'm just going to have a bang. This guy over here, I'm going to, he's going to be a boyfriend, husband, whatever. They know exactly who they are. I got no problem with any of that. I only have one question. How much is that non-sexual boyfriend thing worth to you, ladies?
It apparently means the world to them to be able to get a
because if you want me, you will pay. Because I know my worth. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
You want non-sexual attention from me? You want, that hubby thing from me? You will pay. I'm down. I'm good with all the other stuff. I'm down. Hey, I ain't got no problem with that. I'm saying, what will you give me in regard to the non-sexual stuff that you get? I got to get something in return for that. And if it's obviously, what man wants to take starfish sex, right? Okay, great. So we take that off the table. Now what do you bring? Do you bring an elite education with the social networks that I can exploit? What's useful that I can use? I need to be able to use you to help me further my goals and aims. How can I use you? Because make something clear here, fellas. Women, in this case black, have no compunctions about using you to get what they need. And in many instances want. I got no problem with that. I'm good with it. Okay, they have no problem with me using them to get what I need and want. And if it ain't sex, okay, then I need to use you in some other way. What do you got?
Okay, here's my slight problem. And Cool Kamazi, thank you for the cash app, by the way. Cool Kamazi. Is that supposed to be Cool Kamikaze? I think I heard somebody call you that. I don't know. But Cool Kamazi, thank you for the cash app. Okay, here's my slight problem with what you're doing. It's probably not a problem because I understand that you like to do thought experiments, but I tend to reject the premise out the gate with a lot of the arguments that people make because they normally don't substantiate the initial claim to where I'm not even going to go down the rabbit hole with them, but you will go down that rabbit hole and see, okay, I'm going to accept your premise. Let me see where it leads. Okay.
Well, I mean, exactly. Okay. So you just got finished saying, make sure, tell me if I got this right.
Okay.
Your inclination was to poo-poo what I'm saying here. Do I have that wrong?
No. Not to poo-poo what you're saying, but to reject the premise that if you're a non-select guy, you're automatically going to get starfish sex.
Well, that wasn't my argument.
That was their argument.
Yeah, that's their argument. That's not my argument.
Yes. So my inclination is to reject their premise, because they're saying you're automatically going to get starfish sex. You're generally accepting their premise and then going down the rabbit hole to see where it leads.
Right.
So the premise that I'm rejecting is not yours, it's theirs.
Gotcha.
But if we're going to go back to the beginning of their premise,
yes,
as the non-select guy, I mean, you could almost put the kibosh on it like this: is that consistent with I mean, you've labeled yourself the non-select guy. Have you just been getting starfish sex from women? That's because you can just take it right there. No, the women that I mess with that deal with me, no, they don't give me starfish sex. If they do, they gone. So that's my. But again, I understand you like to do thought experiments, but overall, is that accurate? that if you're a non-select guy and you're dealing with a woman at I guess I don't even know what to say, a similar level of selectness. Is she just giving dry starfish sex?
But again, I think we're conflating my personal take on it versus my interlocutor's premise.
Right.
I am testing their. See, the problem that goes on in Black America way too often is that we just throw a lot of ideas out there, and most of the time it's just accepted, a priori, without actually being tested. See, I like to test ideas rigorously. That's what I'm about. I'm about testing ideas in real time.
Yeah, no, that's why I said, are you talking about real life, or are you just accepting their premise and then doing a thought experiment going forward?
But that's what you do. You take the premise and see how it holds up against its own internal logic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if the argument is, okay, you got two types of guys, women, and we all agree women are strategic in choosing which guys they want to deal with and under which circumstances, and they do so for self-serving gain. So the idea of male-female friendship, let's think about that for a moment, since that's the topic de jour at the moment, which thanks to Steve Harvey by way of 11 years ago, back in the Wayback Machine. Okay, fine. My question becomes, okay, so what are the wondrous benefits of having a female friend? When I ask Black women these questions outright, I never get a straight answer. It's always vague and oblique, and you have to ask, and you really don't know. And I mean, no. Why can't I just get you get this on the bullet points? Bang, 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 bang. Here you go. It's never listed out that way, and I don't think that's by accident. Women align themselves with men because they know exactly what they get. They get intel on how men think. Very important to women. Very important. And if you read A Billion Wicked Thoughts, chapter 4, you'll know why it's so important. They get protection. Remember what Black women say? We ain't being protected, right? If you're a Black woman and you got a lot of male friends, that's a lot of potential protection, especially if you're dangling out the possibility of sex, right? You get companionship in general. You get a hangout buddy, especially if you're dangling out the possibility of sex. Let's go a step further. You can get a ride. You can get your air conditioner installed. You can get all kind of great goodies. Now, again, I'm not against sisters for doing that. They do what they do. My problem is, and this again, I have to give ARC credit for this. It ain't that women, in this case Black, are being strategic. It's that Black men ain't strategic enough. See, I'm ruthlessly strategic with how I deal with women. I have to be able to use you some way for my benefit. If I cannot use you, you have no reason to exist in my life. I must be able to use you somehow. Because remember now, one of the features of being a high value man is that he's useful to others. Why should that stop with women?
E. Capone in the building, super chat. He says, "Don't feel no way. BR. I used to simp too. Oh yeah, I had it bad. I've told a lot of my simp stories. I haven't told some that's still going to the grave. Some taking some of this got to go to the grave. Shout out to E Capone, appreciate that. And we also got hold up. I know I saw Deacon Dave in the building. Says to non-sexual attention. That's some kind of an emoji right there that means something. I don't know what that means.
I think that's a coffin.
That's a casket. Oh yeah, that's a casket. Yeah, dead to non-sexual attention. Gotcha. Yeah, my screen is.
See, my thinking is, well, you know how I am. My thinking is, I got no problem with providing non-sexual attention. I'm just simply asking, what can I use in return? What will you offer me that I can actually use in return? I'm down with a non-sexual thing. You want to be a platonic friend? We got it. What do you offer in return? See, if you was giving me a blowjob, you give me a mean Hummer, you get this for free. But since that's not on the table, what are you offering in return? See, this is where a lot of sisters go humming. And to be frank, I know the reason why a lot of black women, have a hard time answering that question. And let's just be honest about it. Because once again, shout out to ARC. Black women know that black men really want to have sex. And so they dangle that out there. But they never thought about the day would come when a guy like Obsidian, the non-select guy, would say, okay, we'll take sex off the table. Now what? They always assume that the sex would be the ultimate trump card. They just assume. Mm-hmm. But I always tell the ladies, you must question your assumptions. Question your assumptions. What if you get a guy for whom that doesn't work on? Then what? And since it's already been established that I have great non-sexual value, we got that out the way, what is that worth to you?
Yeah, I think we got somebody who's potentially not following the thought experiment, already went down that path. She said, are you saying you're tired of being friend zoned, Obsidian? I don't think.
Never been friend zoned. Never. And the reason why is because I've always realized what I can bring to the table in a non-sexual sense. And since I know what the worth is, it goes to the highest bidder.
There's been some attempted friend zoning. I think a guy can say he's never been friend zoned if when the second he saw the attempt, he put the kibosh on it immediately and just stopped talking to her altogether. There's have to been some attempted friend zone, some friend zone attempts. I think every guy. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so there's murder, and then there's attempted murder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are two different, charges, right? Two different offenses, right? Do I understand that right? Murder and attempted murder are two different offenses. Do I have that right?
Yep.
Okay. So there's friend zoning and attempted friend zoning. There will be two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to ask me, have women attempted to friend zone me? Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we was clear on that because it was.
Have I ever been friend zoned?
Look in the chat room. It's already a bunch of blue caps in there. They saying you're capping.
Well,
but that's why I was trying to help you out because
but see, this is what happens when you're not precise. This is the reason why a lot of brothers go to jail, because they're not precise. Words have meaning. So being friend zoned is one thing. A sister trying to friend zone you is something else. Have I had women try? Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Why wouldn't they? I bring tremendous benefits it's a good thing if you got Obsidian as a friend. It just didn't work because they didn't have anything to barter with in a non-sexual context that I actually could use.
Right. But okay, this is where, so you're telling me a woman has never dangled that possibility of sex over your head.
Oh, absolutely.
And you hovered. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Blew right past it.
Okay, so you never hovered for a little while.
Nope.
In the hopes of the possibility of some sex?
Nope.
Okay. I can't say that.
Well, see, there's a concept in pickup known as compliance testing. Right. So if you want to know if a woman is attracted to you, like black men know it as choosing signals, thanks to alpha male strategies, the proper term is indicators of interest. Why is that important? Because you also have to know what the indicators of disinterest are. They both exist on a pole. So you got on one end of the pole indicators of interest, and on the other end of the spectrum indicators of disinterest. So compliance testing determines how much a woman is attracted to you. So you can get a compliance test. For example, you go to reach her hand and she takes your hand. That's a compliance test. You ask her to do something and she does it. These are small tests to find out if a woman's attracted to you. So I do stuff like that all the time. A woman that dangles the possibility of sex, hit her with a compliance test. Let's find out. Now, there are some, for lack of a better way of putting it, pro-level manipulators. How does ARC put it? Manipulative time wasters. That's how he puts it. There are some pro-level sisters that know the game and try to play it. All you got to do is just up the ante. Raise the temperature. Instead of doing a slow frog boil, do a microwave on her. Because if a woman is seriously sexually attracted to you, she's going to be down. But if she's not, she's going to violently react to it. Boom, gotcha. You can't outsmart me. And that's the reason why I've never been friend zoned. Many women have tried, though. To paraphrase 50 Cent, many women. Many women.
To paraphrase, remix. Yeah. All right. Queen Q in the building says, Obsidian, I believe that only platonic male friendships women can have with men is if there is some type of business going on and it's kept professional. But is that a platonic friendship or is that just a business relationship? Networking only for my business. The fact that you would even conflate the two says that you're kind of in some suspect business, Rick. I don't know. I don't know why you would conflate platonic male friendship and actual doing business. I do run a business that ultimately serves women. I'm not platonically friends with any customers. or there's a woman who's connected to the business who I got to contact to not trying to explain all the details, but to ascertain the products and services, the products. I don't consider that a friendship. So I don't know why she's even conflating the two.
Yeah, that Ramil spoke to that as well, and I agree with him. That would be a collegial and or business relationship, which is completely different, or should, in my view, it is and should be completely separate from a platonic friendship. Like, for example, let's switch it around so it's female, no sex, platonic female girlfriends. Are you girlfriends with all the people that you do business with? I would ask the sister. Is she girlfriends with all the business that the clients and networking that she does, professional and all the rest of it with other fellow black women? I don't think so. I doubt it. So yeah, that the conflating of the two is very problematic in my mind. It suggests a weak boundary.
Mm-hmm. But thank you for the $15 super chat. I don't got a special greeting for that, but you will get the $10 and the $5.
I'll be damned. I'll die and go to hell and play blackjack with the devil before I give you $10. That's what I want to know.
That added up to 15. We got it. Mr. Tobert in the building says, I was told to support the show. Take my money. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that, Mr. Tobert. Mr. Tobert.
Yeah, but getting back to the point, I do think that the sister makes a good point. Queen Q, I think her name is. I think she does make a good point, and that is this. Black women and black men have very weak boundaries. We got boundary problems. It's very common to, here's how you see it play itself out. You ever been to, I'm pretty sure you have, Bernard, and I'm pretty sure many people listening have. You ever been to these professional mixers? You know, you're supposed to go there and network, and it's for professionals and upscale professional, that sort of thing. You ever been to those?
Yeah, kind of, but that wasn't really my thing.
Very popular among the. I mean, to be brutally frank, they don't include blue collar guys. Let's be honest. They don't include us. That brings me to something else I want to touch on too.
Yeah, that's why when I went there, I was doing blue collar work. But me and my ex-wife, we was always either trying to run a business or trying to run a business, and so she was more into. I was working during the day, so she was more into that thing. But I would go to some of those events with her, and I was still in mostly just blue collar mode. So I was just in there like, this is it was kind of corny, the ones that I went to. I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling it, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. And this kind of dovetails into something else I want to get into, which does deal with today's topic. Among the white collar professional class, we have to understand something. You guys like you and I, it's a real different world. Many of these people are used to dealing with opposite sex situations dating back to college. That's a very important thing for this class of people, right? And so for them, being in a professional setting is always a potential mating ground. And that means that things could potentially go bad. Now, in our world, that is being trade unionist world, it's completely different. For one thing, at least in my case, I work with, other than the one big failed experiment to bring women en masse to the job, outside of that, easily 95% of my entire work career from 18 to 40 was, male dominated, which I greatly enjoyed. When I wanted to socialize with women, I would leave the job and go to designated areas and activities that was for the express purpose of socializing with the ladies. Not under the pretense of working and all this sort of thing. We gonna network. No, it's for specifically for socializing. You either get on or you strike out. And I like that very much. That very much appealed to me because I'm a get right to the business kind of guy. But in the world, and this takes us to Kevin Samuels for a moment. In the corporate white collar professional world, schmoozing is very important.
Yeah, I hate it.
It's very important. Now, I can do it. I'm very good at it if I want to be. But is it my preference? No, it is not. I just like to get right to business, man. I came here to F. I didn't come here all this other stuff. I came to get it on. Let's go. Up you get. But that's the reason why I take the approach that I do in the book. Sex is on the menu, make an itinerary. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go here. We go here for, we got reservations at this spot. We get after dinner drinks here. And then we go back to the crib and we get it on. That's the plan. Now, and I want to use him for a moment so everybody can follow me. See, among the Kevin Samuels class, that's considered too direct. That's considered too blunt. Even to some extent, low class, to tell you the truth. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to be so forward. And blue collar guys are known for their forwardness, their bluntness, their directness, So when you're very kind of indirect in that way, it opens the door for a lot of deception or mixed signals or, any type of problem. Whereas on the other end of it, you pretty much get an up or down vote. She's either interested or not. Things probably kind of in there. But the nature of the corporate professional world is that things are built on, kind of extra activities, socializing and relationships. Whereas in the blue collar world, you punch the clock, you do the job, and that's that, and you go home.
Right.
So
yeah.
These type of things, and you have to think about it. Our jobs. I read somewhere, I can't remember where I read it, but they said that Americans spend more time on the job than any other activity. So it very much shapes our identity and our sense of identity and who we are and, what people automatically think of. And that brings me to something that, because I went back and watched the interview you did with Sade. And there was a part in the interview where the two of you talked about colorism and so forth.
Right.
And what was fascinating to me is how Black women want all of the benefits of a white society. In this case, corporate America. I mean, let's just get right to it. Corporate America is a white thing. It was made by whites. It's largely still controlled by whites. It's a white world. The IBM Blue world is a white world. It operates on white norms, white standards. It's true. Even for the Black men that want to do well in that environment, and to his credit, Kevin has talked about this. He's talked about how, brothers, if you want to get ahead in corporate America, you got to cut your hair. You can't do the locks. Sorry. You got to look a certain way. And that's true in the military. If you want to do that well there. I mean, so if you want to do well in those environments, you have to adhere, yes, to white norms. So my point is, for the sisters who want to make a deal out of, the hair piece or hairstyles and so forth, or the weight and all the rest of it, well, that's the white standard. If you got a problem with that, then go elsewhere and build your own thing where you can do the Black standard. Now, I've been asking Black women, what is the Black standard of beauty? Where is it? Point it out to me. I can't get a great answer from them on that. Point out to me what the Black standard of beauty is. We got it. The white standard of beauty is thin, big boobs, white, blonde hair, blue eyes. We got that. Point out to me the Black standard of beauty then. Where is it? Point it out to me. I can't get a straight answer from them on that.
Right. Shout out to Sade. She is one of the good ones. No problem with her at all. But with most Black women, if you interrogate their position, you're gonna see a little something to pick apart. But no, that she's, shout out to her, kudos to her. No, it was a good conversation. She's not the problem out here.
She's not.
Yeah, just to make that very clear.
The argument
cool people
hanging out there for the longest time. And I saw Kevin on another. There's a really good channel just coming up now called The Peef Let's Talk. He recently appeared over there, and there's a sister who I like named Kay. They're going back and forth, but she was making that argument about how it's racist for corporate America to hold Black women's natural hairstyles against them. And I love the way Kevin addressed it. He said, if it bothers you that bad, make your own company where you can install your own norms. And Kay didn't want to do that. She wants white America to accept her as she is. No, they have a right to their standards. And if you don't meet them, or if you don't like them, or if you disagree with them, make your own company. And you can put in your own standards.
Yeah, well, my personal take on that, as far as corporate America not accepting natural hair, like, look, go just if you watch, I know you don't watch a lot of TV, but if you do watch some TV, just watch all the commercials. Look at the Black women in the commercials, whether they're advertising a Subaru or some Direct TV or whatever. The Black woman always has natural hair. If you look at the casting calls for commercials, some of them will even go as far to say no weave. I don't think natural hair is a problem that they try to make it out to be. There are isolated situations where I do think some middle management white guy said something about a Black woman's hair being unprofessional, but by and large, if she go in and her hair is just curly and afro-y and or how they rock the little got the little part right here, like little Frederick Douglass little the thing going on. I actually like that look. My woman rocks that. They're not being shunned or kicked out of boardrooms for that. I mean, you can find isolated incidents where somebody.
So you're talking about TV commercials?
Well, no. Well, I was just saying that was drawing a parallel. I was looking at commercials and the way black women are presented in commercials that are selling products from companies that are ran by white people. And
Okay.
I'm looking at the way they present black women there. They're presenting them with natural hair. So
Okay.
I don't think there's as much fear of natural hair like black women make it out to be. I know plenty of black women. There was a black woman I was dating. She had her master's, and it was a 2-round interview thing she was doing. The first day on the first round of interviews, she did have her hair straightened and pulled back. But when she made it past the first round, she went in there and she said, "You know what? I'm gonna go in with my Frederick Douglass." And she walked in there with her Frederick Douglass and got the job, making good money and doing well. Now that's an anecdote, but still,
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
I don't know if it's as much of a problem.
So your anecdote does kind of speak to the point. If the natural hair wasn't that big of a deal, she would have did that right off the rip. The very fact that she went and straightened her hair for the first interview is very telling.
Yeah, well, is it telling of how they react to it or what she thinks?
Both.
Okay. I think it's more so what they think and what they got in their head. I don't think it's as much of a problem, a black woman having natural hair. Now, there are certain things that you can't do. Like, I understand that, with white people, you can't walk in there with a spiked mohawk. So there are certain things there are certain things that you can't do, but I don't know. I could be wrong. So I'll take a step back on this one, but I could be wrong.
See, my thinking
is hold on, real quick. Hold on. Shout out to the Affy Kingdom podcast in the building. Appreciate the super chat. Says salute and respect. Appreciate you. Shout out to you. And there was somebody else who I thought I missed Sick Lid in the building. He says Obsidian loves the sausage fest. October. Okay, yeah, cut it out. But shout out to you, Sick Lid. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you for coming on through.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want.
Shout out to you. Appreciate the $10.
I'm glad he brought that up because by definition, I've done among the most manliest work on the planet. By definition, most guys don't do actual manly work. I did as a career. Most guys work in jobs that the women could easily do. No woman wanted to do my job, and the vast majority couldn't do my job.
All right, well, let me ask you this question because, like I said before, I understand that you like to do thought experiments. If the premise is that white America, corporate America, don't like black women hair, how it grow from the root, then yes, I understand it from a thought experiment or just from just accepting their premise. And then, okay, I accept your premise. Now going forward, you should do this, or what should you do going forward? And you're right. Yeah. Then at that point, yeah, black people need to build their own shit. And from there, then then people can walk in there with afros, and they'll still walk in there with weave, by the way. So I'm not even, I don't, like I said, I typically don't accept the premise, but hold on. But I just want to know out the gate, do you believe that it's true that they're being shunned or treated different or not promoted or not hired because they're rocking natural hair, understanding that there's a difference from just walking in there with a matted fro, however it look when you wake up, versus having a natural hairstyle, but you actually took the time to make it look nice? Are you saying, do you accept the premise, or do you believe that they are actually being treated different?
To tell you the truth, I actually don't know because I've never worked in corporate America. I'm not the right person to ask that question. Kevin would be, which leads me to my next point. I think the problem with a lot of black people, we're talking about black women here, but can be said of black men too. We don't like the idea of trade-offs. We don't want to give up something to get something else. We want to get it all. I mean, this is really at the root of the infidelity problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you really sit down and think about it, this is at the root of which, to be fair, both black men and black women engage in infidelity, but I'm going to aim this at black men for a moment. This is at the root of the obesity problem with black women. Yes, there are obese black men, but I'm aiming this at black women. The problem is we don't like trade-offs. Look, I worked in as a blue-collar brother all my adult life. And I was happy with it. Why? Because I didn't want to play the politics game of corporate America. Man, piss on that. I said it and I mean it and I mean what I said, and that's that. I love the fact that I could tell the suits to kiss my whole black ass and then keep right on working. I loved it. I loved it. I love being able to tell my white plant manager that if he ever talked to me like that again, I will fuck him up and then go right back to work. Loved it. You can't do that in corporate America. I liked being a blue-collar brother. Now, there are downsides. One of them is that black women don't like blue-collar brothers. I know a lot of sisters, when you bring that up, they say, oh, no, not me, not me, not me, not. Ladies.
It was just one of them in the chat saying, I love manly, masculine work. I love my blue-collar brothers. Yeah.
Ladies, St. Kevin has been laboring in the vineyard now for a whole calendar year. We've all heard it for ourselves. Kevin has asked sisters, well, what about a plumber? What about a pipe fitter? What about a mason? Sisters don't want that. That's only confirmed what brothers like me have known all our adult life. And do I fault them for that? Absolutely not. They got a right to their preference. But
they might not actually want a pipe fitter, but they've been piped down by some pipe fitters.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, I get why they do what they do. Look, I understand why whether corporate America really does discriminate against black women on the basis of colorism or 4C hair, whether they do or don't, here's the real important piece. Black women want the status that's associated with corporate America. Doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. Status is huge for women. Huge. It's not just money alone. Status matters too. And that's the reason why a lot of sisters look down on blue-collar brothers. They may make the money, but they don't have the status. As a matter of fact, being a blue-collar brother is seen as low status, to be brutally frank. Even if you make them, I routinely out-earn sisters with master's degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I've had master's degrees come to me like a thief in the night talking about they want a loan. And we all know when black women ask you for a loan, write it off. You ain't ever going to get paid back. Just write it off. Okay?
Tanisha Savage. At the same time that she was typing that, for men who don't like black women, why care what they do? At the same time that she was typing that, I was just explaining how my woman got a Frederick Douglass hairdo. Like, they don't even be listening. They just be commenting just to comment. And why the hell is your name Savage? What dude want to be with a savage chick? Like, I just get, yeah. That's never mind. I just had to vent on that one.
Savage is just another way of calling it the wild woman. If you, for those who are more learned, and because we do have a lot of rubes in our midst, but for those who are more learned, they read. There's the archetype of the wild woman. Like you were having a biblical discussion with Sade yesterday, just to briefly go back to that. So if you go back to the Hebrew scriptures, if you will, so you had Adam, Eve, but you also had Lilith, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Lilith was the prototypical wild woman, right? Mm-hmm. So you had Eve. Eve is the more, dutiful, respectful wife. And then you had Lilith, the original, 304. If you will. You can go back and look all this up. It's that archetype that of a type of woman that's that wild, sexual, wild woman that appeals to the hindbrain, primitive part of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that. I mean, that's part of us. I get it. The problem with so many black people, black men and black women, and shout out to Kevin. I noticed that he's taken to citing or referring to my book in a sense, because I do talk about the atavism and hypocrisy of black women's mating choices, chapter 8 in the book of Obsidian. And I make the argument that in the case of black women, that their mating choices are primitive. I mean, they're the most base.
Mm.
And that's going to be a real challenge in a 21st century world. Now, to be fair, there's something to be said for a lot of black men too. This is the reason why I was leaning on, speaking to Kevin Samuels, I was leaning on Hafez of the roommates and Fresh and Fit. Here we have these guys trying to reason with the modern day Lilith. You can't reason with them. They're wild women, man. They're good for what they're good for. You smack that on that ass and keep it moving. That's it. But they're trying to reason with them. There's a major problem I'm seeing in the online manosphere space, if you will. And that major problem is thought content. And what do I mean? Thought content. What do I mean by that? I mean, I'm not going to mention any names, but there are major personalities on social media, YouTube in particular, who spend an inordinate amount of time discussing the Jezebel, the Lilith, the wild woman, the 304 HOE, and how you get cheated on by them, and you're trying to talk sense to them and all the rest of it. Where have we? I came along at a time when Snoop Dogg said, circa 1994 rather, we don't love them hoes, but it's 2021 and brothers love these hoes. What happened? What happened? We understood that we don't love these hoes, man. You do what you do and keep it moving. That's it.
I don't know a channel that's saying to love the hoes. I don't know a channel that's doing that.
Nobody is explicitly saying that. But when you have remember, women love attention, non-sexual attention. You're talking about them, they love it. Right?
Okay.
So all of this focus on these thoughts, these OnlyFans chicks, how they cheating on you, doing this, doing that. What are we saying here?
OnlyFans chicks cheating on you?
What I'm saying is the archetype.
Okay.
Inordinate amount of attention we give that. What are we saying?
Well, okay. I don't know who you're talking about, but if I had to,
I mentioned a few names already. I'd rather not go any further because I don't want to get you in any trouble. But I did. The only reason why I mentioned those names is because Kevin Samuels was tied into that, and he is part of today's topic. But if you spend any time in the Black manosphere space, it won't be long before you find thought content.
Okay, and I think I got what you mean by thought content. Yeah, what they are, what a lot of those channels are ultimately talking about is just giving guys a game on how to get, how to increase the quantity of thoughts that they can get pussy from.
Right.
That's what that's doing. So,
but here's the problem.
Okay.
I would go along with that if all you're doing is just trying to sex them down and keep it moving. Then why the need to talk about 16 different ways you can find that she's cheating on you? By definition, the wild woman ain't. By definition, the wild woman ain't faithful. She ain't brother. She everybody's. By definition.
That's where they do multiple things. They will talk about how to increase the quantity of women that you're having sex with. But if you're in a relationship, they also will talk about ways to know that your chick is engaging in the bullshit too. So those are two different things that they're doing.
Is it?
Well, okay. This is how they connect. If all the hot girl savage chick thoughts that they are trying to teach guys to plate spin, if the guy ends up in a relationship with one of those, now they got to give him how to know that the thought that you picked up when she was thoughting is still being a thought now that she's supposed to be your woman. So that's how the two will connect ultimately. But I don't necessarily see the problem with guys trying to give guys game on just how to increase the quantity of women they have sex with, but also giving what amounts to relationship advice as well. But when the two merge together to where when the guy is trying to flip a hoe into a housewife, that's when it gets goofy. But real quick, shout out to Fatal Dose. These are 1990s, so he made the super chat a while ago, so we got to figure out what he's talking about. These are 1990s talking points. I walked around the office, and there are plenty of sisters with their natural hair. It's just an excuse to wear weave. I do agree with you. I do think they're capping, as the as the saying goes. They're capping. Shout out to you. Shout out to Jaxn Retro. Probably more weaves in church than the corporate office. Shout out to Jaxn Retro. Appreciate you.
These last $2. I'm not gonna lose.
Also, give me a second, fellas. Give me a oh shit. Shoot. I see Mad Black Entertainment. Real men don't argue with or about women. Appreciate the super chat. I don't know what that is or where that came.
These last $2. I'm not gonna lose.
Definitely don't condone men who are in relationships with women to be arguing with the woman all night long, all night. Shout out to Truth. But no, definitely don't recommend or condone that. I do think some people get real goofy when men are talking about and analyzing the social dynamics between male and female. Why y'all arguing about women or talking about women? It's like, it's a goddamn talk show or YouTube channel about women.
I'm glad you said that, because I've encountered that as well, and it's okay. I don't argue with women. Okay, so you never have a disagreement with your woman then. And if so, how do you work it out?
Yeah, by definition, that is an argument. But I do get the premise that you shouldn't be just emotionally enraged in an argument where she being petty and you making sense and she not listening and with her the argument is about endurance and longevity and not trying to figure out what makes sense. At some point, you just got to say this is what it is and this is what it's going to be and this is what it is. You don't like it and just go in the corner and cry. At some point you do got to get to that point. So I do understand the premise of not arguing with a woman. I understand what they're talking about and why they say that. I don't like when they take that and extrapolate it to YouTube channels that discuss women. That's where it just gets goofy.
But my question becomes, all right, you don't argue with women, fine. Like I heard one guy on Facebook, I won't say his name. I heard one guy on Facebook, he said that he just walks away from the women. And okay, that's fair. The women that don't cooperate, you don't want to go back and forth with them, you just leave. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But what happens with the woman that you do? You're telling me y'all never have a disagreement ever. See, this is what I think. This is what I think the real truth is. A lot of guys aren't good negotiators. A lot of guys aren't good communicators. A lot of guys aren't good writers. And in order for you to succeed in the 21st century, in a 21st century relationship, you have to be a good negotiator. You have to be a good communicator, and you have to do it a lot because the relationship is not static. It's fluid and dynamic. And a lot of black men aren't good at that. They shouldn't feel bad because a lot of black women ain't good at it. I said it before. All right, then, if sex is not on the table, then what is on the table? I can't get a straight answer. Okay, then, you want to have a relationship? Give me a simple accounting of what you've done with your body for the past 20 years. Can't get a straight answer. This is educated black women working in a white-collar world where the norm for jobs and things like that is to give an accounting of what you've done and show your competencies. You mean to tell me with your education, your master's degree, I'm a PhD, I work in a white-collar, a professional America, that you cannot give a simple accounting of what you've done with your body for the past 2 decades? Are you freaking kidding me?
Ezra the Daywalker in the building, he says, I'm an accounting major, but if I were to do it again, I would be a plumber in New York. After 5 years, plumbers make $90 an hour. Growing up in a house full of black women, we'd be dead. We'd be dead if it weren't for guys like Old Man. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate
thanks,
that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you. We also got in the building, somebody else dropped something real. Already talked about that one. Shout out to you. Appreciate the $2, even though it kind of went off a little bit on you, but appreciate it. Appreciate the super chat. I see Nuruddin in the building. Oh shit, Azrael today walking back in here with another one. He said it wasn't until I got to YouTube that I saw how black women in the aggregate treat blue collar men. I was dumbfounded. Other races respect their handyman and civil engineer / workmen. Probably why the infrastructure is better than the community.
You know, that's a good point. That's a very
That's interesting.
before. That's a good point.
That's
Very
interesting. I like how he put that there. Appreciate the $20.
I want 150,000. So we can settle out of court right now for $20.
Man, get your
And shout out to Nuruddin and says Bernard Obsidian is right. A lot of black women don't like blue collar workers, especially the ones that are in public safety and trades until they need one. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Nuruddin and Paul G in the building says, take
these last $2. I'm not gonna lose.
Shout out to Paul G. Appreciate you. Very losing news. Okay. All right. I make sure y'all hit the like button. We in here. We got 523 people in the building. From what I can see, 243 on the like. Six thumbs down. Shout out to those who don't like what they're hearing today. Shame on you, but shout out to you. Appreciate you. So okay, where was we at? We was going somewhere. I forgot where we was at.
So with regard to the point about not arguing with women, going back and forth with women, that's fine. I'm just speaking on the wider, because you made a really good point. It's one thing to have that as a personal thing for yourself as an individual. It's something else when you attempt to extrapolate it out to a broad base, like on social media. And I argue the reason why some guys, I'm not going to say all guys do this, but one reason why I argue some guys take that stance, because they're not very good, at conflict resolution. They're not good at arguing something. When I say arguing, I mean making a persuasive case. They're not good at communicating in general. They're not good at persuasion. They're just not good at it.
I think
you have to be pretty skilled. And this is not my personal opinion. I've read a lot about what it takes to be successful in a marriage or a relationship in a 21st century context, the hedonic marriage and so forth, Economist magazine and so forth. You have to have some skill sets going for you in order to make that work.
I don't necessarily think that's what it is. I mean, what you're saying is true, that yes, you do have to have some skill set. You do have to be a communicator, like especially if you're talking about in a relationship. I refer a lot of things back to sales, but yes, if you're the leader, you want her to follow you. Well, leaders have to communicate. They have to sell their idea. Rather, we're talking about someone who's good or evil. Hitler had to be a good salesman and sell. Think about what he got people to do. You got to be a communicator to do that. So I understand what you're saying. You got to be able to make a point in a clear, precise way and get people to follow and get behind it. So there is truth in that. But I think the reason that why people say that never argue with a woman, or don't be on YouTube talking about women, or talking about arguing with women, or arguing, all that is them just trying to do. And this is what Game Changer accuses the game dudes of doing. They're trying to just say not hashtag not all game dudes, or not all guys that talk about game, but there's a percentage of, and I'm not even talking about the exact dating coach. I'm talking about just a random chat room guys. That's just their way of grandizing and saying, I don't have to argue with women. Women just do what I say. It's just a chat room attention grab. More, just try to say, I don't have that problem. I don't have to talk about this or talk about that or say this or say that. Women just do what I say. I think it's more so of that. I think it's more. I don't know.
I've heard some brothers say that they just walk away from women that just, which is they're.
Well, you should early on. Hold on. I wanted to say this earlier. Sorry to cut you off. Early on in the process, if she's not being compliant, then yes, that's the obvious thing. Walk away, get out of there. But it does turn into a point where the relationship, if you're in a relationship, which a lot of people are. Shout out to Alpha Male Strategies. He said, still, even with him trying to give everybody the strategies on how to FD asleep, he said most of his guys are, as he said, purple pill. Like 85% of them, and they just want a relationship. So the guys who are in those relationships and it's ongoing to the point to where it's a higher level of consequence. You see, understand what I'm saying? It's not just I'm at the early stages of texting or trying to holler at this chick, or we may have went out for drinks once and she on some stupid, goofy type stuff. All right, I'm just gone. I'm going, walking away. I'll get out. You know, I think we all get that. But once you end up in a relationship and it's ongoing, and don't even get me started, if there's children involved, yes, there are things that does have to get worked out and talked out and argued out and figured out and just get down to the bottom of it. And yes, there are going to be times, like I said before, where she's just going to be on some emotional BS. Shout out to Ike, how he talked about how you can't teach a goldfish to ride a bike, or you can't teach a dog to breathe underwater like a fish. There's sometimes she's just going to be on some bull, and you just got to say what it is, and that's just what it is. But there are things that you will have to talk out and work out and be a good communicator on and get her to understand. So you are right in that regard. I think the only area where I disagree with you is the reason why they come in here and make the statement that he said about never argue with women or talk about. He basically said, don't be online doing a YouTube channel about women, talking about women and what women do and this or that. That's essentially what they're trying to say. So there's like a I don't have that problem. I don't have to argue with women because they do what I say. Or there's the and there's also a subtle hint of the just I don't like what you're saying, so just shut up argument being made. So they got a number of motives as to why they're doing it. I don't just leap right to they're bad communicators. They got a number of motives.
Well, what I would say to the whole ball of wax is sexual conflict is common. You know, if the argument goes that I don't have these problems, well, you're in the distinct minority. If what you're saying is true, then you're in the distinct minority, brother. Because the evidence shows us that conflict is common. It's a feature, not a bug. So if you truly don't have any problems with these women, this, that, and the other, you are not the norm. You're an outlier. And then I have to ask, just how useful can you be to the conversation if what you say is true?
Nardine back in the building with another super chat. He says, what the hell? I scanned it and I saw Captain. He says, and when they come back to blue collar brothers like me, I tell them to go back to Captain Underpants. Is that's what we calling him now? Okay. And hope that he can pay those bills for you. Wow. Captain Underpants. Okay.
You know, he makes a really good point. He makes a very good point because, as we said earlier, if we agree that women, in this case, black, are very picky with regard to the men that they involve themselves with, and let's just get right to it, sexually especially, then you have to ask, when they encounter non-sexual male problems, being protected is a non-sexual male problem, for example. And we could think of others. You have to ask, well, why can't you ask the guy that you was having sex with? The obvious answer that black women don't want to admit is because they chose a certain guy to have sex with, and that's that. And my question becomes, why are you giving your most valuable asset for so little in return? Why?
Kid Styles, thank you for that Cash App, by the way. I don't know if I shouted you out earlier when you sent that Cash App. Appreciate it. Yeah. If a woman's having sex with a man, then she should be able to get those needs met. The protection argument gets goofy because they're talking about random reaction if you happen to see something, and I think that's just an overblown.
But even with that, why don't you ask the man that you're having sex with to give you that reaction? See, either way you want to slice it.
No. They're talking about if he's not there and somebody jumps out the bushes to grab their purse, they want any man in an eye shot of it to react. That's what they're talking about.
But my response to that is, yeah, but a competent man takes all of that into account. Tony Stark is dead, but he still can protect his people.
Yeah.
So get with the guys that are like Tony Stark, who
If
can
that's
protect
a
you even if they're not around.
Yeah, if that's a problem, which I reject the premise that they're having that problem at the degree that they have it. I think they're overreacting to viral videos that went viral because a woman got her head busted and nobody intervened. That's why it went viral. So that's why it's out there. Oh, we're not protected. Look, because we know we're not protected because once a month there's a video that goes viral.
Right.
That's
And
so I reject their premise altogether.
I agree with you that there's definitely that problem. And there's a sister in the chat room who says white women have that though. I don't know what they have. A woman named Sarai, Sarai Brown, Sarai Brown. She says white women have it though. I don't have that though. I don't know what white women have. So please.
Right. That's just worshiping of whiteness. You can't unless you can show me. I mean, unless you can show me that white women get their purse snatched less. I don't know. Or unless you can show there's any data that white men react more. I see there's more videos of somebody doing something to a black woman, and then the person who did it got stumped out in the street by the community than what you can find videos of that happening with white people. So I mean, it's all about what goes viral and what we click, and we love victim porn. And so when something happened to a black woman, it's going to get clicked and shared and goes viral like crazy. But there's an equal amount, if not, there's far more videos of somebody doing something to a black woman and black men reacting harshly. This prison's full of black men who are in prison from defending and protecting black women. So I reject the premise.
So we have to ask the question then. Following up on what you said, we have to ask this question. Why do we have all of this press from black women to the point of actual campaigns, UO cases? If what you're saying is true, then why do we have this big press?
For the same reason that Tariq Nasheed thinks it's irrelevant in 2021 to make a documentary on buck breaking. They just love the
I don't understand.
We love being the victim. We love being oppressed. We addicted to it. There's an insatiable lust for oppression amongst black people. And so, yeah, so this for the same psychology that makes a rich man living in the suburbs make a video about black men getting. I'm not even going to repeat the process, but of that used to happen to black men 200 years ago, just to cuddle and hug everybody and say, "Oh, we were so oppressed. Look what them did to us." Like that, it's just more of that. It's shout out to whoever just said it in the chat, trauma porn. Yeah, that's what's going on here. And social media has made trauma porn so easy because all you got to do is whenever you see a random act, look at that, it's so horrible. Share. Everybody sharing it, and now everybody sees the isolated incident. And look what they're doing to us. That's all that's going on there, and I don't buy it. Sick Lid in the building. He says Adolf Hitler was literally a game dude. Started as a 20-year-old pimp and almost ruled the world. I didn't know he was pimping, but I do think you got to have a certain degree of game to convince people to do all the shit that he convinced them to do. I do agree with that. But shout out to you, Sick Lid. Appreciate you. Shout out to somebody else in the building. I think Mr. Shane Vicious is in the building, giving a rebuttal to I think Adolf Hitler's pimphood. Says Sick Lid is full of shit. Adolf Hitler was a broke incel and starving artist until he got out of the army after World War I, and he was in his 30s. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Thank you very much. Appreciate the $5 super chat. We can move forward. Because Adolf Hitler's pimp hand was not strong.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. So where were we? Yeah, it kind of got sidetracked. But in any event, going to the actual topic.
It's about that time. We're almost 2 hours in, so we do need to get into the main topic.
So the latest wrinkle out there right now, and nothing scientific, but I've just been trying to keep a watch to the extent that I can and I'm able on social media, and it seems that And it is interesting, the timing of it, meaning, Derrick Jaxn's scandals last month.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting now. Lots of black women are very upset at Kevin Samuels, our good friend and brother. I call him St. Kevin. You call him the Godfather, you guys. A lot of sisters online, very, very, very upset with Kevin. And they've even gone so far as to suggest, again, this is not scientific, just, my impressions. They've even gone so far as to suggest on Facebook and elsewhere that Derrick and Kevin are two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I find that interesting because there was no widespread condemnation and counseling of Derrick. I mean, you had some sisters here and there, but we can look at the numbers empirically. I mean, he's lost a total of maybe 25,000 subs on YouTube alone. That's a drop in the bucket to him. Mm-hmm. He still continues to enjoy a nearly 6 million combined social media following. You take his YouTube, his Facebook, and his Instagram is nearly 6 million right now.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we've witnessed black women try to destroy Kevin. We witnessed it right here on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We witnessed black women try to destroy him. Talking about bringing lawsuits, the whole shot. So I find it interesting that now they want to conflate the two.
Mm-hmm.
Now they want to say, well, Kevin Samuels and Derrick Jaxn are the same, two sides of the same coin. That's okay. Well, what coin would that be? I think what they mean is that both of them are kind of exploiting black women. Which I find, and they never make this clear. So, I'm kind of, spitballing, but let's play that out, because the last time we went around the mulberry bush on this, we talked about Miss Kendra G.
Mm-hmm.
And her, tete-a-tete with Kevin Samuels. And the very first thing out of her mouth when we reviewed her tape was how Kevin should be ashamed of himself because black women put him where he is right now. That was her argument, or at least that was part of it. That were it not for black women, Kevin Samuels wouldn't be where he is right now. Now, here's the thing with that. She's right. Because we know Kevin well. And we know that Kevin wasn't getting world star hip hop, type exposure for telling the guy that he was a fat so-and-so and asking the size of his so-and-so. We know that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin was telling black men about themselves in the harshest of terms for years. We know that's true.
Mm-hmm.
We have evidence for it, but that didn't attract world star hip hop. What attracted world star hip hop is when he told his sister that she was average at best. So yes, Kendra G, you're right. Black women has made Kevin a household name. Yes, I concede that point. You're right. But in conceding that point, would you, Kendra G, and other black women who think like you, would you concede that you also made Derrick Jaxn an even bigger household name? Would you concede that? I find it interesting that Kendra G has so much to say about Kevin and nothing to say about Derrick. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Because she is a legitimate media figure, is she not?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe she went to Hampton for journalism. I could be wrong, but I believe she attended Hampton University for journalism. And one of the basic rules of journalism is that you get both sides of a story. Is that not so?
That is correct.
So she has so much to say about Kevin Samuels, but she got nothing to say about Derrick Jaxn. I find that interesting. Because if the argument is that they're two sides of the same coin, and the argument is that Kevin Samuels got where he is because of black women, well, wouldn't the same thing be said about Derrick Jaxn?
Yep.
I mean, you know, I'm sitting here listening to all the arguments. You know, I'm watching on social media, and it's never clearly articulated. And, you know, I was just talking earlier about Fresh and Fit, Hafez, Curious, the roommates, Kevin, to be fair, you know, kind of going back with the OnlyFans girls. And I have my views on that. See, here's my, let me lay this out. See, I do not expect much of Good Time Charlene's, the Lillas, the Jezebels, the HOEs, the 304. I don't expect much of them. Big Booty Brenda. I don't expect, you know, erudition from them. I don't expect it.
Right.
But I expect more from a Kendra G. She went to Hampton. I expect more from them. And I have to say this, man, with all due respect, please forgive me. But I'm talking about the educated sister now. I'm a PhD. The educated sisters have not acquitted themselves very well over the past year because Kevin Samuels has proven night in and night out they are not I'm deeply disappointed. Deeply. Okay? Deeply. I don't expect much from an OnlyFans chick. But the sisters that are so educated, oh my God, they have not acquitted themselves well over the past calendar year. They have not. It is deeply disappointing. Deeply.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, Mr. Shane Vitchett says he has a BA in history, by the way. He's laying out his credentials of why he was right in the debate over whether Hitler was an incel or a pimp. Thank you, Mr. Shane Vitchett.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
And also, my man, Black Wolf Inc. in the building. He says, by the power of Kevin Samuels' pimp hand and tears of single moms past the wall, the resident big bad black wolf has arrived. What's up, good brothers? Shazam, batches, Shazam. Shout out to Black Wolf with the $20. Greatly appreciate you.
I want 150,000. So we can settle out of court right now for $20.
Man, get your
Shout out to Black Wolf. Shout out to Black Wolf. Appreciate you. We also got somebody else just came through down at the bottom with a super chat. Sincere cracking up question for brother speaking right. Why do people go to internet for relationship advice when you can go off your own experience? You can answer that one, Obsidian. That's a fair question, I guess. Well, I have my thoughts on that question and what's wrong with it, but go ahead. What's your answer to that one?
Well, because it's human nature to attempt to try to get understanding from other people outside of yourself. That's the basis of the scientific method. Your own view is by definition limited and potentially flawed. So you go to more objective information. Now you could say that and I have heard black women attempt to make this argument with regard to Kevin and Derrick, that these internet gurus are inherently flawed and you need to go and listen to the people in your own family. Okay. But we know that most black families in the United States are severely dysfunctional and broken. I mean, you really going to turn to them for their advice?
And to Kevin's credit, he does ask them where's their father, and if their father is around, and he says, yes, go. Have you talked to your father about this? Is your father helping you cycle through these men? Is he helping you vet these men? So Kevin Samuels understands that quite well. That yes, going to the family is important, but there's, like you just said, there's a certain degree of brokenness with black families to where, it's not. It's not so simple. Easier said than done in a lot of cases when it comes to black families. But
not only that, but here's the other trick. Here's the other wrinkle that a lot of black women that I've seen online. Again, nothing scientific. What they'll do is they'll make that argument, and I say, okay, but I notice it's in response to Kevin. Why don't they make that same argument in response to Derrick, though?
Yeah, it seemed like for years they should have been telling women, no. Don't go to Derrick. Don't go to the Facebook and YouTube car therapist in a muscle shirt to get dating advice. Go to your family circle. They didn't say that for 8 years, but now
not only what you said is true for the better part of a decade, but especially in light of the evidence that we have now.
Mm-hmm. Yo, they waiting for him to just start back dropping videos. I could tell they just can't wait. Actually, I think he did go live on his Instagram, and there was an outpouring of support. So I mean, he's still in the game. He's just taking his time, just getting all the way back in. Yeah.
So here's what I'm about to drop, and fellas, I hope you're sitting down for this. This is you want to talk about red pill truth? You want to talk about dropping some serious game? Get ready. Here is what the sisters mean when they say Kevin and Derrick are two sides of the same coin. This is what they mean. They're both black men with high status. And black women love status. That's what they mean.
Why do we need to sit down for that?
Well, because I was looking in the chat room, and the brother, I can't remember his name right now, he made the point that though he's blue collar, he makes more money than a lot of white collar professionals. I understand what he means by that. I do. I don't think a lot of black men really appreciate just how important status is to women in a mating context. It is. It's second only behind money. I can't lay this at the feet of black men. This is men in general. We tend to be simpler thinkers than women are. You know, lot fewer moving parts. You know, more straightforward. You know, but it's just not that way with women. And this isn't my personal opinion. This is based on brain science. Women have two brains, essentially. The halves of their brains are separated in a sense. Whereas the halves of a male's brain are integrated, connected. And this accounts for a lot of the phenomena that we see. For women, in this case, black, status is hugely important. And I think that's what they mean when they say Kevin and Derrick are two sides of the same coin. Isn't it interesting that in a very real sense, in a kind of ironic kind of way, there is something to be said for their premise? Think about it. For all of the guff that Kevin has gotten from black women, isn't it odd that his audience just keeps growing and growing and growing?
Yeah.
And we all saw what happened with Derrick. I mean, he got a mild slap on the wrist in terms of cancellation. He got a mild slap on the wrist. These two guys still have status. And in a social media world, you know, I call it the Jumbotron. The rules of the Jumbotron. And black people have made a quiet consensus that if it didn't happen on the Jumbotron, it didn't happen. I even call it, I refer to it as the social media economy. It's a very real thing. And black women in particular are extremely attuned to that social media economy. In that sense, both Kevin and Derrick are just flat out wealthy. And it does translate into real dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It does. So, yeah, in a real sense, I get where black women are going with it. Now, personally, I think it's a bunch of bunk because I can rationally explain it, but this isn't a matter of rationality. This is something else. And for a lot of black women, they love a winner. You know, I was I was talking to somebody else earlier this morning on email, and she happened to be one of the few sisters that I personally know who never, bought into Derrick Jaxn's spiel from the beginning. I've known this person for some years, so I can vouch for that. But the fact remains that she's not even statistically significant when compared, against his following. She's not even statistically significant. And I know she understands statistics. And it doesn't acquit black women very well. 6 million followers is a hell of a sample size. For all the talking, to his credit, Kevin has done a lot of talk about how high value men don't cheat, they exercise options. There's been a lot of discussion about cheating. I've done it, you've done it, everybody. But at the end of the day, black women still voting with their feet. All this back and forth about the cheating, this, that, and the other, they still over there with Derrick Jaxn. They're still there. All this talk about character and integrity, your actions say something else, ladies. There hasn't been any calls to cancel Derrick. And you definitely know how to cancel somebody when you want to.
Yeah.
There's been no mass calls to cancel him. You said it yourself, Burner. I had no idea that he went live on IG. You're just telling me now, and you tried to like lowball it. He got a nice outpouring of support. That's probably putting it mildly.
Yeah. Let me see if it's still up. I don't know if it's still up. I don't know. Yeah. While you're talking, I'll just look that up.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I take away from all this is that, the attempts at morality ring hollow, because at the end of the day, black women's actions are that they love a winner, and it doesn't matter how you got to be a winner. They just love a winner, and they're going to stay with a winner. To paraphrase our good friend and brother Ty City, they don't care. And I think that bodes well for relations between black men and black women going forward. I don't think that bodes well. I think that's a bellwether in the night, because this is something that is playing itself out in real time. It's not a question of he said, she said, theoretical discussion. No, we are seeing it in real time on the Jumbotron.
Sincere cracking up in the building. He says, if brother asking question would like understanding, why go with what you from past things you've been through in relationship.
I don't understand I can't understand it.
Yeah. He don't understand the concept of somebody seeking out the advice of somebody who has more experience. I mean, somebody can go with their past experience in shooting 3-pointers, but if they feel like they could be a better 3-point shooter, and there's a Klay Thompson who's teaching a class on how to shoot better 3-pointers, and that Klay Thompson has one of the top 10 3-point percentages of all time in the NBA, it would be wise to go and take at least hear some advice from Klay Thompson on how to shoot a better 3, even if you are making some threes. But I mean, clearly your percentage could be better. So that's just a simple, very, very simple concept that can be applied to everything, not just getting dating advice. But even though there's some criticism of dating advice and all kind of stuff going on, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah. So I don't understand what you're not understanding about people seeking out advice from others who have expertise in said particular field. Sincere cracking up comes back with another one. He says, question, do they practice what they preach? I don't quite know exactly who or what you're referring to right there, but thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that. Emancipated Negress in the building with the $20. Emancipated Negress. I still hate that name, by the way, but thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. A lot of black females don't really care about status. We care more about how we are treated by you. So don't be yelling at me to make you no sandwich. Okay, you're on the wrong channel, talking to the wrong content creator. Just ask nicely, and you will get everything you want. Simple.
Can I jump in on that?
Yeah.
With all due, I have no idea who this lady is. I've seen her around. I don't know her personally. Got nothing against her, but I have to say, with all due respect, I'm sorry, sis. The evidence says otherwise. And when I say evidence, I'm talking numbering in the millions. If you know anything about statistics, statistical sampling, I'm sorry, sis. Nearly 6 million black women. No. You are in the distinct, not even statistical minority.
Well, okay. Well, I'll get to give a half defense of what she's trying to say. She's talking about when it comes to interpersonal relationships and not a social media following. So she's saying that some women don't care about a man's status when it comes to an interpersonal relationship. However, I do think what's embedded in that is some women are not really
But even with
good
that,
at hold on now. Some women are not exactly good at pulling men with high status. So the thing that you're not capable of getting is easy to say, well, I don't really care about that much. Just like it's easy for me to say.
I'm not going by what I think she meant. I'm talking about what she actually said. I'm sorry. Okay. The evidence doesn't support you. I'm sorry.
No, she clearly was talking about relationships because she's talking about making sandwiches.
I'm talking about
Derrick Jaxn and Kevin Samuels ain't making sandwiches for none of those women.
About relationships.
I mean, they not getting
we know Essence Magazine predated all this. I'm sorry. It just doesn't support it. I'm sorry. You're in the distinct minority. Assuming everything you said about yourself is true, I have no reason to doubt it. I'm just saying you're in the distinct, not even statistical minority. I hate to say that. I don't like. Listen, and I know you got another brother up here you want to get to, Bernard. So I'll try to make this brief. I gotta admit, man, there's a lot of things I don't like about this whole situation, and one of the things I didn't like is what we're talking about right now. You would think that a death blow would have been dealt to Jaxn, and no, nope. And that's a very I said it before, I'll repeat it. I think it was a kind of Pyrrhic victory, what I did and others. Yeah, we were right, but in the final accounting, it didn't mount for much.
Well, we'll see more when he starts trying to post regular content that he can leave up, because he did, like I said, he took that video down, the one that he did on Instagram. We'll see. We'll start to see if he can leave his comment section open. We'll see. Everybody didn't just instantly say up, unsubscribe, but I think when he starts back trying to do regular content, we will get more data on how people really feel about it and react to it. But thank you, Emancipated Negress. Thank you very much for that. We got Neo K Marcellus in the building, presuming that a cat's catching ability is largely governed by money. He's then prone for treachery. Thus, he's wide open to be hustled. I don't quite understand what point you're making there, but thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. And we got my main man, Oheen Immoral from the Crypto Game podcast, coming through with the $50.
$50? So that makes you rich?
It's a start.
Damn.
Oheen Immoral, that's the Black Crypto Moses, leading brothers to the promised land. You better make sure you're over there, subscribe to that brother. Moderators, drop his link in the chat. We got 500 people in there. I'm sure 500 people in here. Sure, some people that's not subscribed to him. You guys definitely need to go over there and get your money right. Learn about investments. Learn about investing in some cryptocurrency. And
yes,
as he said, Black
Oheen, please email me at theobsidianfiles@gmail.com. You got a autographed signed copy of the Book of Obsidian coming your way as a result of your generous contribution today. That's something I meant to say earlier, Bernard. I've got 25 books right here available for anybody that drops a nice super chat or a cash app on Bernard. You get a signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian too. So you get that. All right. So Oheen, hit me up at theobsidianfiles@gmail.com. You got a signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian with your name on it, and also this.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Thank you, Oheen. Thank you.
He says black people always lose because they are more concerned with the glitter than reality. There are thousands of millionaires walking past us every day, but black people would rather chase people who look rich instead of learning what true wealth is. Very, very well said, Oheen. Y'all got to be over there, moderators. I hope y'all dropping his link in the chat right now. Definitely want many brothers as possible following Crypto Moses, as I call him. Definitely want y'all over there getting that good word from the good brother Oheen. Captain Sicko in the building says, ask Obsidian what he thinks about Derrick Jaxn church. I don't think Derrick Jaxn's church is in service quite yet, but it's something I don't know. You know what you're talking about there?
No, I don't. But it looks pretty clear to me that that's where he's pivoting to. It may not happen, but my guess is if he does, from what we can tell right now, he'll do very well. If indeed that happens. So.
Oh yeah. Sincere cracking up question: do you think the relationship advice they're giving right or wrong? Let's be honest, brother. Do I think the relationship advice that they're giving is right or wrong? I think some of it is really good. Some of it is, it's up to the individual. I don't. I think in general, okay. If you're talking about relations, the reason I'm fumbling because I'm trying to break up relationship advice versus gain more women down, increase the quantity of women that you're having sex with, or quantity or quality of women you're
talking about.
And that's a factor too. So it's like it's too vague of a.
You have to specify who he's talking about.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's yeah. So that's why it's hard to give. But in general, I think a lot of the dating coaches do give some good general do's and don'ts when it comes to women in general for the most part. Yeah, so yeah, no problem there. I don't hate on dating coaches. I've actually learned some things. I mentioned earlier with ARC when he put that focus on exactly how much women love non-sexual attention. That gave me an epiphany. It made me see the whole world differently when it came to the male-female interactions altogether. So yes, they do give good information. Indigenous TV says there was a female who came on Mr. Samuel's show and he asked her age. She said, guess. He kicked her off and said, guess these nuts. I didn't see that. That's funny. Appreciate you, Indigenous TV. Who else we got in here? I think I saw Mr. Fantastic down there. Let me do some scrolling real quick. I think I saw Fantastic in the building, but we got Deacon Dave right now. These last $2, take these last $2 and get me a sandwich.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Shout out to Deacon Dave, appreciate it. And we got Fantastic in the building. He says there is no victory when people's minds are made up. Women follow DJ for his message only because he is the messenger. Pastor Jaxn about to rake up. Yeah, definitely.
Let me jump in on that because let me jump in on that because that's a really good point. I can't speak for black men writ large on social media, but I know black men in the black manosphere very well. And there is and I don't know if this is a self-selection thing going on here, but for whatever reason, however it got to this point, there's a lot of very cynical black men in the black manosphere. I'm not trying to be pejorative or it's not a put down. I'm just being descriptive. There's a lot of brothers are very cynical about black women and things connected thereto. And we could debate all that, but this situation with Jaxn in particular is really just poured gasoline on the cynicism. Well, not just what he did, but more so black women's lack of response to it. That just kind of poured gasoline on it. And that can't be good for, black America writ large. Can't be good. Can't be. It's very disturbing.
Sincere cracking up in the building. He says Derrick Jaxn didn't practice what he preached. Can you make it? I think he means, can you make it make sense for people who were supporting him?
Yeah, you know what? He makes a really good point about that. Very good point. Because
and while you respond to that point, I do have to step away for a minute. So you got it.
Sincere makes a very good point, because for all of this talk about morality, integrity, character, so yeah, but you're still supporting the guy. And at the same time, you're giving Kevin a workout over high value men don't cheat, they exercise options. Well, you can't have it both ways here. If it was about character and integrity, you would have stepped off, but you didn't. So yeah, Sincere makes a very good point there. And, black men are watching all of this in real time. It just, well, some people will say it was already gone, but it just erodes goodwill between black men and black women. It just seriously erodes it. Since Bernard isn't here, I'll read him out. The super chats. Simon says, with the $10 super chat, thank you, Simon. He says, if what you say is true, Obsidian, that black women want a winner and don't care how he got there, shouldn't black men be thinking about whether this class of women that we want to rear are sons? I think the empirical evidence before all this happened, I think, answers the question. 51% of black men are single and childless. So that pretty much answers the question. Now, this current situation with Jaxn, will it, give a knock-on effect to that? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Captain Cisco with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that, brother. He says, I am talking about the church that DJ attends. The pastor in that church was casting out demons. I have no idea. I don't know. Don't know. Couldn't tell you. But thanks for the super chat though. But yeah, it's I understand why black women online are now making the argument that Kevin Samuels and Derrick Jaxn are two sides of the same coin. I get why they make the argument. And I think the reason why they make the argument is because they both have high status. Well, okay. They can do something about that. They can walk away and turn it off anytime they're ready. If that's, that's the main thing between the two of them. I think where they're trying to go with it is that both of them mistreat black women. Okay, if you buy that premise, all right, well there's an easy fix. Turn it off. Turn it off, disengage, disconnect, unfollow, unsubscribe. That's the solution. But I don't see any evidence on either side that black women are doing that. They're saying one thing and they're doing another in real time. Now, do I think that the argument is a valid one? Do I think that Kevin Samuels and Derrick Jaxn are two sides of the same coin? Absolutely, it's ridiculous. But I'm accepting their premise. By their own premise, it doesn't add up. Using its own internal logic, it doesn't work. So I think that it doesn't acquit black women very well. I just be God honest truth with you. It doesn't acquit black women very well. It just doesn't. Yes, there are notable exceptions, but I would say they're not even statistically significant. So Indigenous TV says Obsidian wondering why black men are cynical when it comes to black women is like wondering why the mouse doesn't trust a cat. I wasn't wondering about anything. I was making a statement. I wasn't asking a question. Wondering is asking a question. I wasn't asking a question. I was making a statement. I said my experience in the black manosphere over the past 6 years has told me that there are quite a few cynical black men when it comes to black women, and that the current situation with regard to Jaxn will not help that for the better. It's like pouring gasoline on a raging fire. That's what I said. I wasn't wondering about anything. I was making a declarative statement. But thanks for the super chat, though, with the $5 super chat, Indigenous TV. Appreciate it. Sincere cracking up with another $5 super chat. He says he talks down on the brothers doing same thing that we're doing as well. Who's he? How he talked down on the brothers doing the same thing we're doing as well. Well, who is he? You says who is he? I don't know who he is. But yeah, I think that there are a lot of brothers that are very cynical. A lot of brothers got burned, man. You know, now we don't like to talk about this. The thought content creators have a very, interesting way of packaging it. And I don't fault them for that. But the truth is a lot of brothers got hurt, man. A lot of brothers got burned really bad. And a lot of brothers are very cynical. And sisters aren't helping with this Jaxn situation to kind of, take the foot off the gas, so to speak. So, yeah, it's pretty tough to see how this thing's going to play itself out. It's going to be a very interesting summer. I'll say that. It's going to be a very interesting summer. I have no idea where this thing is going to go. But I will say that it was quite a almost surreal experience watching all this play itself out in real time with my book being out at the same time. And everybody agrees that I was right. I was right all along. Nobody disputes that. I was reading Lipstick Alley of all places. And even they were saying, it's like, yeah, this guy named Obsidian, man, he's been on this dude for years. And he was right, So nobody denies that I was right. It's just that, you look at black women's response. So there you go. And for brothers in the black manosphere that would be considered diehard red pillars and that sort of thing, this is just more grist for the mill, And, on the one side, you can't really blame them, because you can't argue against the evidence that's staring you right in the face. But on the other side, yeah, it's pretty jacked up, man. It's you can't build consumer confidence, so to speak, with that situation. You just can't. Captain Cisco with the $5 super chat, he says, do you think Officer Charles Faulkner can defeat DJ in combat? I have no idea. I've learned enough in my martial arts experience to never underestimate anybody. You don't know until you know. So, I don't know. I think it would be an interesting matchup, but who's going to come out on top? I don't know. I have no idea. Let me see. But yeah. And of course, the appeal of Kevin Samuels, let's just get right to it. The appeal of Kevin Samuels is that he's checking black women in real time. He's telling them about themselves, and that's the appeal. That's the appeal of Kevin Samuels, is that he's telling black women about themselves in real time. And Sister Shahrazad Ali had a point. I mean, she made this point many years ago, and she was right. The only person or group of people in Black American life that has not been who has gone unexamined are black women. They are a protected class. And she made a point. I mean, it's a fair point that she made there. And she made that point like better part of 3 decades ago. And I think she was onto something with that. She made a really good point. And Kevin is bearing out the fact that, black women are the only group that hasn't been examined. Black men have been examined all up and down, up one side of the street and down the other, but black women have not. And, he's proven that there's a market for that, a big market. He's proven it. So I do find it very interesting that you have this kind of comparison now being made between Kevin and Derrick. I do think that's kind of interesting. And yes, it's true that Tommy Sotomayor had been doing this long before, but there is a critical difference. There's a difference in scale. There's a difference in kind. There's a difference in type. You know, Kevin is a lot more friendlier, if you will, to TV than Tommy was. I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. I'm just making an observation. In a lot of ways, Kevin is more friendlier to TV than Kevin is. Than Tommy is. Excuse me. And I think that does play a role in the size and scale of their relative audiences. I think that has something to do with it. Again, I'm not making a judgment as to whether that's good or bad, just making an observation. Sincere cracking up with another $5 super chat. Thank you for that, brother. He says, Derrick Jaxn ends up in the same situation he was speaking on social media. Can you make sense out of it? How he still got supporters after his doing? I can. Derrick still has status. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Dr. Umar. I remember my good friend and brother O'Shea Duke Jackson did a video where he was talking about Dr. Umar Johnson and Lennon Honor, and how Lennon Honor was, kind of perplexed how black women were still interested in Umar, given all the crap about him. And O'Shea said something that was very profound. He said, Dr. Umar Johnson still has status. And I mean, we could debate it, and I hear what our good brother Ohim said about this. I respect that, but it is what it is, man. For what we could debate it, we can go back and forth over it. It does have an evolutionary basis. Black women and male status, that's a big deal, man. And it's impervious to, Dr. Umar Johnson, Derrick Jaxn, it's pretty much impervious to exposés and all, as long as you got that status, it still matters. So.
All right. I'm assuming that you've acknowledged all of the super chats. You weren't able to click on them,
except for the $24. Except for the $25.
Right. But shout out to everybody who sent the super chat when I was away. This bomb is for all. Legend Skinner says, good morning / afternoon, Big O. I recently had a discussion with one of my alumni brothers, and he stated that black men and black women are starting to have a Batman Joker relationship, meaning order versus chaos. Your thoughts?
That sounds about right. If you go back to Dr. Jordan Peterson, he stated that men tend to represent order and women, as a general proposition, tend to represent chaos. He's taken some heat and some fire for that, but he stood tall on that point. And I understand exactly what he meant, and I agree. I think things in Black America tend to be ramped up. It's kind of like being on a tainted version of a super soldier serum. Everything is ramped up to 11 in Black America. So whatever is extant in white America, it's just amped up to 11 in Black America. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Thank you for that $20. Well, no, $25 super chat, Legend Skinner. Appreciate it. Will you, Obsidian, be going live tonight?
Yes. Speaking of Derrick Jaxn, we're going to be having a very good panel discussion of some brothers that's going to be joining us. We had a panel discussion 2 weeks ago. We're going to continue. The last time around, we asked the question, why are high-value men so sloppy when they exercise their options? Mm-hmm. This time around, we're asking the question, what should happen to high-value male violators? In other words, and I was just talking about black women here. So we got that. But there's a role that black men play in this as well, the whole infidelity thing, using the Derrick Jaxn situation as a jumping off point. So what should black men do when guys, high value guys, are stuck with their hand in the cookie jar? Do brothers just act like nothing ever happened? Do we turn the other way? Or look the other way? Or do we big them up? I mean, what do we do? That's going to be going down tonight at 6 p.m. EDT. I think it's an important conversation to have. An admittedly difficult one in light of what we just got finished talking about, black women's reaction. It's going to be really hard to make the Boy Scout argument when sisters are just going for Jesse James. It's a hard sell.
Jessica X just super chatted her last 2 pounds. Not gonna lose. Okay, what time are you going live, Obsidian?
Yeah, 6 p.m. EDT.
6 p.m. EDT. Thank you for the super chat, for super chatting your last 2 pounds, Jessica X. I'm gonna play
these last $2. I'm not gonna lose.
Appreciate it, but yeah, I'm assuming she may be going live to it. Is maybe why she's asking. Yeah, Jessica X. I don't know how I said that. I was about to do an impression of her, but I normally sound like shout out to Silent. He said I sound like a Wakandan whenever I try to imitate Jessica's accent, and she says it's hard out here for a broke chick. Yeah. Who's going to be on that panel tonight?
I've invited Ace Metaphor back, Adrian N. Carter. He's a conflict resolution expert and book author. And brother D. Darrell, he's a mental health professional. And
we know D. Darrell needs no introduction around here after dropping the classic. I
can't remember right now. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And Mr. Let Go is looking to come back. So we'll see if they all show up tonight.
All right. Okay. Shout out once again to Sincere. Okay, Sincere cracking up. You've bought your rent. You've out $5 snuggles today. All right. You done sent like $30 worth of $5 super chats. Appreciate you. Sincere cracking up says some said in the chat they still want to have sexual relation with, even though the woman he got wife and cheater. Let it make sense. Okay, you're gonna lose your
I understand what he means, though. I understand what he means. Well, we can look at this from an evolutionary standpoint. And this goes back to Kevin's argument. High value men have options because there are always women willing to, be as we like to call it in the black community, a side chick.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick is living proof of that in real time. That's the thing that's fascinating to me about all this, with the Jumbotron. There's, we don't have to speculate and go back and forth. We can look on the Jumbotron and see all this is playing itself out in real time. And it does seriously clash with the notion that black women want character and integrity. No, they don't. Mm-hmm. It sounds good. I think they want to convince themselves of that. But that's not how it plays out in real time.
My main man, Little Big Nate, puts out an interesting question, and I'm not trying to start no junk right now. But he says, I thought D. Darrell didn't want anything to do with the manosphere.
Well, he was there 2 weeks ago, and now I'm one of the founding fathers of the Black Manosphere. So explain that. There's a brother in the chat room. He didn't do a super chat, but he did say, and I'm paraphrasing him because I'm trying to find it. Kind of got what went by. Oh yeah, there he is. Brother by the name of Maury Mo returns. He says it's sex appeal. Please stop saying high value when it's just sex appeal. That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point because there was a sister on Sundays now. I try to have a show that focuses getting the voices of black women to have conversations about these things. So last Sunday, we were talking about the Derrick Jaxn piece, and a sister named Napa Shada made a very powerful point. She said that, and I'm paraphrasing her now, she said that for women, high value does mean high sex appeal. Mm-hmm. The two are synonymous. And I think that that's something we guys we should do well not to lose sight of. I think in the minds of a lot of black men, or at least the black men in the black manosphere, we want to try to separate the jawline from the fame, or the jawline from the money, or the jawline from the status.
That's true.
That's not how women look at it. Women don't see it that way. If you got one, you got the other.
I think you make an interesting point. And when I did my stream, that was I sarcastically titled "Battle for the Vag," jawlines versus six pack versus game versus mouthpiece versus money versus passport versus whatever, battle for the vag. The point that I was trying to make is that you can get on with all of those things, and so it's not such a clear dividing line. Oh, you got this, you don't got that, so therefore you can't. I know. I mean, I think all things being equal, I think a man would be wise. A man would be wise, all things being equal, to make sure he get his money up. That's first and foremost. I think money matters. Money beats all at the end of the day, because it goes beyond women when you're talking about the money. So I say get your money up first and foremost. Speaking of money, shout out to Steph is Cold in the building with the $100 super chat. But yeah, I do think you raise an interesting point when you say if you got the money, you got the status, women view it different. And I can understand the concept that some tall, muscular, sexy dude, he's going to make them tingle, make them tingle a little more on sight. I get that, but money and status matters, and it bothers me that so many men like to shoot it down or poo-poo it as if it's not,
Well, I understand
that
why
matters out there.
I understand why though. Which is easier, muscles or Kevin Samuels, Derrick Jaxn level fame, status, money? Which is easier to do?
Okay, but the correct response is I don't have that. I don't have that type of money, status, and fame. However, the tools that I do have right now, even though I may get that money someday, but the tools that I have right now, I'm doing okay with that. That's really the correct response. I'm doing okay with what I got. But to try to take a crap on somebody else's way of winning, it's goofy to me, and that's the point that I was trying to make.
Yeah. I think did you shout out Steph?
Not fully formally. We sent a $100 super chat, and when we get a $100 super chat, we gotta have Smokey come in and count it for us to make sure it's all there.
20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140.
Wait a minute. That's $100.
Also,
Allahu Akbar!
Thank you, Steph.
Shout out to Steph is Cold. He always come through, one of the people who came up in this space, blew up in this space, but still come back and supports this space very heavy. He's one of my Patreons. Immediately after he became one of my Patreons, I instantly joined his Patreon just to throw the support back at him, man. We definitely appreciate Steph. He will come to bigger channels, smaller channels, and drop 100 on it. Like every time he donate 100. We cannot overlook that.
Indeed.
We cannot overlook that.
And another thing, hey Steph, hit me up at theobsidianfiles@gmail.com. You got a signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian with your name on it. Steph is Cold. Hit me up at theobsidianfiles@gmail.com. You got a signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian with your name on it. Make sure you include your mailing address where I can send it to. You got it. Thank you.
And Jessica X says, looks is the most powerful. See, I'm not going to. It creates raw attraction. I can't do it. Okay, I can't do it. Okay, but you either have it or you don't. Looks is the most powerful. It creates raw attraction, but you either have it or it don't. Money and status is the great equalizer. That is the simple point that I think Obsidian has been trying to make. Put us on an island, strip us butt naked. Okay, we all broke, poor, and naked. Okay, yes, looks and physical, all of that would matter. You put us in a civilization, there's other moving parts. So yeah.
Yeah,
that's definitely how
we can do the comparison. we don't have to speculate. Kevin is not buffed out the way Derrick is, and I think this is fair to say. I don't think Kevin would disagree with this. I mean, Derrick is a very photogenic guy. I think he's even done some modeling work. Not,
yeah,
I don't.
Hold on, real quick, yeah. Drop Steph's Code's link in the chat just in case.
Yeah,
it's a couple people in there that's not subscribed to him. Make sure y'all drop his link in the chat.
And but what we do, I don't know if Kevin's done any modeling work or not. I don't know, but what we do know is Kevin is considerably older than Derrick, and again, he's got a big following too. As a matter of fact, a sister in the chat, M. Stewart, she says, I don't think black women are calling into Kevin Samuels' show for advice. I think they are going to be the exception. Maybe Kevin will fall in love with them or something. She's on to something there.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I think she's on to something there. I think there are a lot more sisters than we're willing to admit that are like what she said, what M. Stewart said.
But hold on, shout out to Jessica X though. She got 5. She got 5 pounds on it. Shout out to her with a new. Yeah, almost joke. I already cracked one joke on Jessica earlier. I'm gonna save that one for later, and I'm not gonna do two. Black Wolf in the building with a super chat. He says, "I got 5 more on it, baby." Shout out to Black Wolf. Shout out to Black Wolf Inc. All right. All right. Shout out to Jessica X. Rotating out those pictures. All right. Carry on, Obsidian. You're saying. Well, I don't know about M. Stewart's. I don't know about that. Like, was her argument, if I understood it right, and how you interpreted it, she's basically saying they're calling in, thinking that Kevin Samuels is going to like them and want to be with them.
Yeah, a lot of black women. I noticed this with Jaxn as well. A lot of black women really, this is going to sound bad, but a lot of black women really kind of fantasize that they can kind of get these guys. It does sound kind of pathetic, but yeah.
I don't know about that one. I mean, I think they I don't know. I mean, well, okay, there is a good bit amount of advice that he's given, but like from my perspective, I look at it as if they've already looked at they're listening to him talking to other women. They're listening to what he's saying. So a lot of them, they call in for 2 reasons. One, to try to argue. That's one reason why they call in. 2, they probably are looking for some actual personal advice, or they're wanting to feel like the choices that they made. I can't explain why they call it. I gotta think. I'm gonna think on that one, and I'm gonna come back with a more formal response, because I gotta think on that one. Like, why? What are they looking for when they call in? Because some of them just clearly want to argue and just say that you're wrong about A, B, and C. They want to argue. They want to argue that they're not wrong in the decisions that they made.
Right.
And they want to see if they can prove him. They want to see if they can prove him wrong and prove that it's not their fault.
Right.
That's what they want to do.
This is for the disagreement. So yeah, I agree with you on that point. So yeah, but there are definitely sisters that are attempting to show that they're the exception to the rule, and they could just see how great they are and that sort of thing. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of sad. There really isn't a black male parallel that I can think of offhand. There really isn't a black male parallel that I can think of either, to tell you the truth. I can't think of any. No social media expert, but yeah, just offhand, no. But yeah, Mari Mo, he's on the scoop. Yeah, Mari Mo says, I've seen many black women just drop panties for dudes who they thought looked good. They don't really care if the guy is a good person or not. And that's why I'm sounding like this. Yeah, there's truth in that. I think the idea that, character and morality and all that, as long as Derrick Jaxn is still clocking upwards of 6 million followers across 3 social media platforms, that dog just won't hunt. I'm sorry. The character and integrity thing, ladies, Dead it. Just dead it. Also, the idea that you're mad because high value men exercise options. I mean, you can give it the old college try, but it's not going anywhere. It's dead. It's dead in the water. It just is. Guys are looking at what you do, not what you say.
Demetric Armstrong in the building. He says, "Let me get up in this $5 war. What's up, my brothers? Happy Friday, everyone." Shout out to you, Demetric Armstrong. Shout out to you. All right. Huh? Jessica X said Bernard takes them all. I said, take all of what? Bernard, and Black Wolf says, you take her food money? What? What the hell's going on here? I missed something. It be all kind of stuff going on in my chat I have no idea about. Said my super chats I was playing when you said I sent my last two. Okay, gotcha. Okay, understood. Some are hoping they will be the next average at best girl so they can cash in. That's interesting. They trying to. Well, I can see how some of them probably are calling in trying to hope they could be the next person that makes World Star and get famous and then try to. And try to blow up their whole little social media. You can get your social media going on something like that. If you watch, I think some of his most recent streams, people call in. It was like some younger people, like they call it, like they're streaming on TikTok and they're trying to fake and bake their way on his show. They got like a fake image up and see if he could bring them on, and then so they could jump on for 2 seconds and be on Kevin's and have kept be on there on screen with Kevin Samuels and just playing and then make a little TikTok video out of it. Like they're doing all kind of goofy stuff. So I do think that it is very possible that some people are strategically trying to make sure that they
well, they don't have to do that because Kevin has announced, I heard it the other night, he announces that he's going to start featuring influencers, particularly female ones. So if you got the goods, you don't need to go through all of that.
No, but some of them don't got the goods. The average at best chick didn't have no goods.
He said that he's going to start featuring, he's going to like interview them and stuff like that. He's going to be featuring female influencers. But the trick is you got to be hot. That's the trick. You can't be average at best, sis. We all know the deal here. IG model grade. You got to be IG grade. And we all know what Kevin type is. So if you got the goods, come on with it. He said it the other night. But if you ain't got the goods, sucks to be you. Hey, listen, what Sade said yesterday is 100% true. No problem in sisters wanting what they want. The question is, do they qualify for it? And sorry, a lot of sisters don't qualify for that. And they don't want what they do qualify for, which I'm good with. I'm like, no, you ain't got to accept what you qualify for. So let's just get right to it. Do you have a hospice care plan? What's going to be the plan for the rest of your life? Do you have 1.5 to 2 million liquid for the rest of your life to retire on? Let's just get right to it. See, that's where I'm at with it. Now it's been a year that Kevin has been doing this. We need to move the conversation forward. We just skip all over this other stuff. We got it. You want what you want. You don't qualify for it. You don't want to get what you qualify for. Good. Let's just skip right to it. Do you have a hospice care plan? Let's just get right to it. What's the plan?
We have Mo returns in the building.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want. Everything? Everything.
Return says, showing support to Obsidian and Bernard Riley. I really enjoy these podcasts. Yeah, I keep it real and I appreciate it a lot. I'm 26 and the dating market is so bad, it's not even funny. That's why you need to get over there where you can get everything you want for $10. All right. Shout out
they
to
actually
you.
Shot that. They actually shot a Full Metal Jacket in Jessica X's home country, by the way, the UK. They actually shot it there.
Mm-hmm.
So that scene that you just showed there, that's not in Vietnam. That's actually in the UK. They just made it look like it was Vietnam.
Interesting.
Stanley Kubrick, yeah.
Nuruddin back in the building with another one. But the only time they care about character and integrity is when they're in a bad situation and they need a good black man to get them out of it. Well said, Nuruddin. Well said, Nuruddin. Well said. We also got my main man, Black Wolf, back in the building again. He says, come on, you broke ninjas in the chat. Hey, don't be shaming my audience. I love these guys. They show a lot of support. Appreciate them. You can call them some broke ninjas in the chat. Pull out a 5 for the captain and give it with the glee, you ungrateful jerks. Time is money, and the strip club ain't cheap. Shout out to Black. And the nurse and nerd who was on my panel. Well, the nurse was on my panel, not the nerd, but the nurse was on my panel the other day. Definitely enjoyed you hopping up. She says, for years, Derrick Jaxn has been feeding low IQ compliments, and these ladies still have no man. Kevin Samuels is sharing the truth for a solid relationship. Right on. Good stuff. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. All right, we are closing in on the 3-hour mark, and I am shutting this down at 3 hours because y'all not getting another marathon out of me on Friday. I'm not doing we used to do a lot of Friday marathons. I done lost the endurance for the marathons. But Deacon Dave in the building, he says it's not a $5 battle without Snuggles. Where's Snuggles? Snuggles is missing in action. They $5 and you.
Hi, I'm Snuggles.
They eating you up right now, Snuggles. But shout out to Deacon Dave. M. Stewart in the building said, bottom line, Kevin Samuels will have endless calls because most of the women who call don't see themselves in the other women who call. That is some good insight there, M. Stewart. And she says, they're the exception. Right on. Yeah, I think you make a good point. I think you definitely make a good point. They don't see themselves in the other women. They see themselves as the exception, even though their life story is exactly like the last woman that he just picked apart and showed her everywhere she went wrong. Even though their story is the same, is identical, they don't see themselves as that woman because I'm different and I'm special.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And that's what they want to do. They do want to like kind of mark themselves out as different, but the problem is it doesn't work because if anything, they're only reinforcing Kevin's point that you're just average at best and you need to come down a little bit and get with an average guy. See what the beauty of what Kevin is doing here is that it's putting the bit. I was reading, like I said, Dr. Buss has a new book out, David Buss. It's called When Men Behave Badly. And he was doing a presentation on it. And he was saying that the research shows that men in general tend to overestimate their mate value. In other words, shoot out of their league more. I'm not going to debate with the findings. I'll just say this. Kevin's de facto field research over the past year tells us that it ain't just men who overestimate their mate value. I'll just put it that way. And we see this night in and night out for a year in real time. And when I go to interview Dr. Buss, I am going to ask him about that fact. We're going to talk about Kevin Samuels. We're going to talk about Derrick Jaxn. We're going to talk about all of it. And I need him to, he's a white, he's white out of Texas, evolutionary psychologist. I need him to explain the real-time phenomena that we're seeing. That directly counters what he's talking about.
Wait. Hold on, Jess.
Hold up.
What? You said Snuggles is cheating on me with a different content creator right now. Where's she at? I'm about to go pull up in there. Gonna be like the dude chasing a chick down at the club with his house robe on, trying to snatch it. Okay, that's a funny joke that a comedian said when a dude crazy his woman out somewhere she ain't supposed to be and left the house in his house robe and slippers to come get her up out the club. Black Wolf in the building says, "Oh man, can you please play Brother Johnson's Stomp or Earth, Wind, and Fire? Let's groove tonight on the show." Okay, yeah, he ain't playing it here.
I'm jotting them down right now.
He says, "I am in the mood for some old school jams." Right on, right on. That's funny. All right. All right. We are at the 3-hour mark. At the 3-hour mark. I'd like to thank everybody. Obsidian, you got some any closing thoughts, closing statements, closing anything that you want to throw on the table before we
I do.
Pack it up, pack it in.
Oheen, brother Oheen, and my man Steph from Steph is Cold fame. Y'all guys need to hit me up at theobsidianfiles@gmail.com with your name and mailing address, because I have 2 copies. I have a copy each of you for you, a signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian for your generous contributions today. Thank you so much for that. I still got about 25 more books available in my inventory to send out. So if you want a signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian, all you got to do is hit me up on my Cash App, $35 or more, or on my PayPal, www.paypal.me/Obsidian Talk Radio. And please be sure to include your name and street address, and I'll be happy to send you out your signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian. Also, with regard to my final thoughts on the topic, I think that this is to be continued. I don't think that this is over. I think it's the end of the beginning. I think that as we head into spring proper and get ready to go into the summer, I think it's going to be a very interesting year in this regard. I think there's more to come down the pike. It's fascinating for me, a kind of amateur sociologist, amateur mating scientist, dating coach type. This is all fascinating to me, because you get to see things play themselves out in real time. A lot of times guys in the black manosphere say, well, we can't trust surveys because women are liars, descriptive liars, and so forth. Well, if that's the argument, social media, the Jumbotron, the almighty Jumbotron, has obliterated that obstacle. We get to see, black female mating behavior in real time, and then we can make an assessment.
Mating behavior?
Yeah.
How does social media don't let us see their mating behavior?
Pardon?
Okay, now we're going to end up in a whole nother topic. How is social media making us see their mating behavior?
Well, I mean, again, looking at what I just got finished saying with regard to both Samuels and Jaxn, the status component, how black women are very drawn to that, regardless of what they say about men. If they have the status, the money, the power, the fame, and yes, to at least some extent, the looks, yes, they're still going to ride with you, no matter what.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'd make a separation. Like, for example, there are some women who frequent. Actually, my free female audience is growing. It's like 10% female. I don't look at that as their vote that they want to have sex with me. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I don't look at it like that. I mean, they enjoy the content for whatever reason they're enjoying it or getting whatever they're getting out of it. I think you look at a female social media following as that's a vote of I want to sit on his dick.
Well, let's do it this way. Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What do you call? Are you familiar with the name Dolly Castro?
No.
For those of you who don't know who Dolly Castro is an Instagram fitness model type. Okay, you can look up. Massive following among men. Then let's just get right to it. Black men in particular. Are we honestly saying that they are huge fans of Dolly Castro simply because of the way she does Pilates? Is that it?
No, but she's doing she's getting in sexual positions. Okay, let me explain it like this. There are some guys who are on Instagram where all they do is take shirtless, oily pictures. There's no content. They're not saying it. Hold on. There's no content. They're not saying anything. There's no subject matter. They're just to be they're basically male Instagram models. They're just posing. Women look at them posing with and flexing, and they click the like button and go in the chat room and say, "Ooh, yeah, he's sexy," or whatever, or some emojis and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's obviously they're giving a vote for his looks right there. Clearly, that's what's happening.
Well,
right there. But when it comes to building a social media following on where you're where you're doing content, I think it's a different ball game. It's not just I don't look at it. I guess that's just me. I don't look at it like that.
I'm glad you said it like that. It's you. You know what's interesting? I was watching Dr. Buss's presentation on his latest book, When Men Behave Badly. Just came out. It was just dropped on Amazon. I just got it yesterday. He says toward the end of his presentation, it's very important for men and women not to be introspective about these things, but to instead learn about how the other opposite sex sees these things. Because if you don't, you're going to project what you think is sexual onto the other opposite sex. And you did just that.
I didn't project anything sexual.
Hang on. Shirtless, visual. See, we do know that it's more than just the visual with women. That's not my opinion. This is science.
I understand that. If somebody is selling sex and they're getting clicks and views because of the sex that they're selling, then yes, the people who are clicking and viewing are saying, yes, I want to have sex with this person.
Listen to what I'm saying.
That's obvious. But if somebody is doing content, hold on real quick. If somebody is doing content that's not about look at me, I'm sexy, but if they're just doing content that has information and people of the opposite sex come in and consume the information, I don't think that we can say, look at the female mating patterns of the female the female species. I don't buy that necessarily.
But that's just it. Women operate differently. They operate on the inferred, on the subtle.
Okay, so you get a $5 super chat from a woman and she said, "Great show. I like your content today." She just voted, I want to have sex with Obsidian. Was that her?
That's not what we're talking. That's a different context. We're talking about two very successful guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reason why Napa Shada made such a powerful point. She said for women, being high value is sexy.
Yes.
Just being that. That standalone is sexy.
And building a successful social media platform in that sense that gives you high status and high visibility, yes, that's sexy to women.
So what I'm saying here is that yes, that's part of the component that's going on. Yeah.
Okay, so
as a matter of fact, David Buss even talks about this in the other previous book of The Evolution of Desire. He talks about how he gave an anecdote about to speak to status. He gave an anecdote about a colleague, academic, who was tapped to play the lead role in convening a big conference, right? And he's on the dais and he's the chief mahaf. And the women were doe-eyed at him. But the next year, he was not the leader anymore. It was someone else. No doe-eyed effect.
If we follow, I'm gonna go ahead and go there. He's about to end the show. If we follow your logic all the way to the conclusion, I'm gonna do what you do. I'm gonna do what you do here. Okay, I accept your premise. From there, can we move forward and say that Obsidian, you're growing your YouTube channel in your social media status? Is that just simply just an Mumia Obsidian Ali mating strategy to draw women to him?
It's a mating strategy for all high status men to do that. Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about this with regard to status hierarchies.
Okay, so that answers your question. This is I mean, listen. I've had a conversation with this with somebody that a lot of the guys, especially in the black manosphere, the reason it's all this beef over game versus jawline versus money versus status versus this versus that, because everybody is doing their content by way of putting their bid or putting out their beacon signal for any woman in an earshot to come and deal. They're basically just using this as a way to just try to source pussy. That's basically what a lot of people are doing, even chat room or content creators or this or that. I mean, me personally, I'll speak for me personally. Once I became monetized, this was completely business, and I ain't thinking about women, the female lurkers of the manosphere. They, like I said, they're just pixels on the screen of my monitor, as far as I'm concerned. And those that support me, I do appreciate them, and we do have a special bond and connection that way. Shout out to Snuggles, been supporting me, hitting me with the $5 super chat champion of the world. At the end of the day, I don't view them. I'm not here trying to source pussy. That's where I'm at with it. But you just confirmed that yes, people are using their social media platform, even if they're mostly speaking to men, they're wanting women to see it, so it could just be a sourcing method for
what I said was, so we're clear. What I said was, I cited Dr. Jordan Peterson, who has talked extensively and publicly about status hierarchies. And he said about status hierarchies and why men are so driven much more than women are is because part of the spoils is pussy. So we're clear about that. That's number one. Number two, with regard to the point that you made that here in the black manosphere, guys are selling, doing their selling points. The main reason why I do what I do in the way that I do it, that is to say, I extensively cite sources, is precisely because of what you said. I don't want anybody saying, I'm saying you're just doing this because, no. Deal with the source. I cite my sources all the time. Reputable, respect. Dr. Jordan Peterson, reputable source out of the University of Toronto. David Buss, reputable source out of the University of Texas at Austin. I can just tick them up. Jeffrey Miller, reputable source out of the University of Mexico. His wife was a student, a doctoral student of David Buss. Diana Fleischman, who used to be in the UK, taught there, now is back in the United States. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I list reputable, I constantly cite reputable academic research and sources to support my arguments. And I implore people to check that first before trying to intuit what my personal motives are.
That's why I asked you directly what your personal motives were. But yeah, a lot of people do try to just infer what your personal motives are. I tend to just ask you, is that argument that you're making, is it personal and is it about pussy? Yeah, I'll just flat out ask you. And you are I don't know if to say shockingly honest, but you tell the truth when people ask direct questions like that. Like, I remember the conversation came up before. I was like, I think I asked you before, is the purpose of doing this to be visible to women, to put out a beacon signal for any woman in the earshot to come and have sex with you? And you was like, yes. I think you said that before. And I forgot about it. So you will double down on questions like that most people will try to punt on. Mr. Shane Vicious says, what's Snuggles' height, weight, and dress size? I personally don't care. She supports my channel and I appreciate her support. However, you can click on her name or type in Snuggles 689 or whatever. You got to scroll through and she's talking on video. You can go see what she look like. Nuruddin in the building. He says, Miss Average at best sound out real that high value men. I'm not going to take care of middle-aged baby mamas with sketchy baby daddies. Understood most of what you said there. Shay, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. We're supposed to be one strong Black Wolf Inc. in the building. Oh man, can you please? Oh wait, we already read That play Brother Johnson. Yeah, we read that one already.
You know what's interesting, what's fascinating to me is how many people are interested in me personally, because I'm thinking the information is more interesting. They think I'm more interesting. That's
you do put you personalize a lot of your stuff, so it does beg certain questions.
Well, okay, so let's play that out. So when I'm presenting information, that takes a back seat for when I personalize something.
No, well, when you personalize certain things, it does invite a follow-up personal question.
Okay, so I'm not personalizing something. I'm presenting research. That takes a back seat to the fact that I personalized a particular concept. So it takes a back seat to that.
No, it shouldn't. And I think I can give myself credit for doing a good job of separating the two. I've had you've heard me say this before. There are times where Obsidian will do some research and come with a pretty much ironclad argument for a particular point that he's trying to make. And then people will, instead of dealing with the point that you made, they will then go and find something more personal that you said on the echo box when you was doing your shock jock routine and just talking shit on the echo box. They'll try to take that and use that to refute the good researched points that you made. Well, I try not to do that. I try to separate the two.
Right.
I try to separate the entertaining Obsidian versus the well-read, researched Obsidian. I do a good job at separating the two.
And that's fascinating in itself because it suggests that you can't be multifaceted. A lot of black people, and let's just be honest, this is primarily black men. A lot of black men have trouble with complexity, with being multifaceted, with being both and. Notice how often I'm often accused of being a flip-flopper. Why can't he be both? Why can't he agree? Why can't he change his mind? It's very difficult for a lot of black men to get their minds around the idea of complexity, of being able to change your mind, of thinking this way one day and this way another day. That's very difficult for a lot of black men to work with that. And that's the reason why Kevin Samuels is so vexing for a lot of brothers in the black manosphere. He's a very complex man. You know, it's not, Derrick Jaxn is simpler for a lot of guys. And he is. In a lot of ways, he's simpler. Kevin is a very complex dude, man. It's not just one element that explains his current success. There's a lot of different factors at work all at the same time. There's a lot of moving parts. And that's very difficult. I mean, by definition, it's difficult.
Shout out to Utopia. She's more or less, well, she's, I guess, more or less making. She says my Mr. and I support men and women in this space who we feel are genuine in their message, have potential for growth with substance. Law of reciprocity. Very well said. Very well said. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's very interesting, the whole consistency argument. I've heard that a lot from a lot of brothers. And with regard to me, that the implication is that I'm inconsistent. And it's interesting because if that's true, you can't be successful in business and be inconsistent. Anybody that's actually run a business knows this. You can't be successful in business and be inconsistent. Because you're not going to be in business very long. The very nature of business is that you have to be consistent. So, again, it goes back, it cuts against, in my sheer longevity in the game, it cuts against that argument. I think the problem a lot of brothers have is they have a problem with me changing. They have a problem with change. That's very difficult for a lot of brothers, man.
Yeah, but do you understand the criticism that there are some things that you have changed on, and then someone will bring up something that a previous position that you had, and I'm not prepared to argue what previous position. I'm not going into the weeds, but there are times when people have brought up a previous position that you have, and you say, "I never said that."
But
and
that's
then when
just it. That's just it. It was not a question of trying to understand. It was an intent of gotcha. What's the intent? Is it to understand or is it to play gotcha?
Okay, but do you agree that you more or less, for lack of a better way to describe it, I would say damn near have a moral responsibility, seeing as you have a following and you have an audience, people that support you, you have practically a moral responsibility to say, look, guys, this was my position on that. Yes, I said that. Yes, it got a lot of views. I've grown since then. I've thought about it more. I've researched more. This is my current position on this particular issue going forward.
Well, would that mollify people? I mean, let's just be honest here.
For the bloodthirsties, as Derrick Jaxn likes to call them, no, it wouldn't.
And that's my point. What is the purpose? What is the intent? Is it to try to understand, or is it just to say, "Aha"? See, the real issue here is change itself. A lot of black men have problems with change and growth and evolution. That's the real problem here. A stasis is safety. It's safe to be in a state of stasis. It's safe. And think about it. There's been a lot of discussion. I'm really, and I'm going to talk to the Dr. Buss about this when I get him in an interview. I'm very concerned about the lack of black, since we are in a age of diversity, I'm very concerned about the lack of Black American evolutionary psychologists and basically just the life sciences. Just about all of our intellectual power is devoted to race problems. The race problem.
I hate that. That's why I blew a gasket yesterday when Truth took us all the way back to the war on drugs and all that. I was like, come on, man. We weren't talking about that shit.
Think about it. If you think about all of our intellectual leaders, all of their brain power is devoted to the race problem. With the implication being, if there, and matter of fact, Ta-Nehisi Coates even said it, were it not for racism, black people's problems would just go away. That's not true. Shelby Steele, a black intellectual, said something that really changed my life. He talked about the shock of freedom. Freedom is scary as fuck to black people.
Yeah.
It's a scary idea. Many black people are not prepared to be free. That's why we keep talking about buck breaking and kneeling at the football game and we got to find every instance of a white cop shooting a black person. And there's a reason for it, because it's safe. Racism is safe. Freedom is scary. I want to be free, and I'm willing to I'm willing to sink or swim on my own merits. I blame nobody for my failures, and I attribute no one to my successes. I did it. I made it happen. I'm the line in the sand.
100% with you on that. Mr. Shane Vicious in the building. He says some of old man's changes make sense while others seem to be like I click on super chats and don't read them. I didn't know that was sitting there all that time. But thank you, Mr. Shane Vicious. You said some of it seemed like a cash grab. Now, I don't even want to get upfield with that, but some things that Obsidian has, I'll be fair, or supposedly changed on, it could be argued that the areas where he's changed, he's rubbed a lot of his audience the wrong way. So if it was just a pure cash grab, if I know it's some people, I can't put a number on it, and I don't know if Obsidian could even put a number on it, but it's some people who have been turned off by some of his changes, and it's more or less hopped from the ship. So I don't know if you could call it I mean, maybe there's some long-term plan of a cash grab, but as far as immediate, no, I don't think you can make that. I don't know if that argument could be made. I don't know if that argument could be made. That's why.
Again, you just got finished as a businessman. And can we be honest that not a lot of brothers are businessmen? As a businessman, you don't see how you no. The idea that he's doing a cash grab, show me. Show me how it would make sense on the ledger. Here's a legal pad. Here's a calculator. Make it make sense. Maybe in the long term you could finagle it. I don't see how he could do that in the short term. Over the next year or two. I don't see it. If anything, he's taking a loss. If anything,
I think so. Yeah. I think some of the things that you've changed on has made some of your maybe not. I mean, obviously you're to the point where you could go and go to some unknown some unknown space on the internet. You have Patreon supporters and people who will follow you wherever you go. But there are some people who like, nah, I can't ride with the old man with what he talking about right there, or what he said right there. So no, in the short term, I can't in any way, shape, or form say that it's a cash grab. I think you're taking some of the things you said, like you're taking a risk. Like, for example, I'll just go back to the classic one when your first I don't know if to say a calculated misstep, or I don't know what to call it, but when you called MGTOWs losers, when you said that right there, even if you honestly feel that way, I can't see the financial benefit in saying that. So there are times when you say,
I absolutely stood to make a lot of money playing the MGTOWs. Well, let me put it this way. When I say make a lot of money, in other words, $5, $10 here, they can add up, and I can make money at it. But it wasn't a financial thing for me. And by the way, I didn't take as big a hit as people thought. I didn't. The numbers, I have the numbers in front of me. I see the numbers every day. It wasn't even 30% hit.
I think that's a huge hit.
It was less than 30%. But yeah,
10%. 10% is a huge hit. So that speaks to my point that some of the changes that you made, I business wise don't understand it unless there's some large scale long term plan. So if they say he hasn't really changed his mind, he's just making a business move. I'm not seeing a good business move, because you got people who are jumping off the ship.
And not only that, but the arguments about where I flip flop on they're like, they're not even real arguments.
Well, okay.
I mean, what have I fundamentally reversed on? Let's take my stance with regard to black women. What have I fundamentally reversed on with regard to black women? What made me a household name? Black female fuckery. Okay. What have I fundamentally reversed on there? What have I done a complete 180 on
there? I'm not trying to get upfield on that one. No. I could. I could. There's been some arguments that have taken place on this show where you have more or less said that unless they're getting with I don't know if you said the top 10%, top 13%, or 75K or up or whatever. Unless they're getting with that, they're better off by themselves. Like that.
But now I cited a study. I didn't say that was my personal position. If I remember our conversation right.
That's why I don't want to get upfield with it.
Yeah. I haven't fundamentally changed my position on that. I haven't fundamentally changed my position on any of that. But one of the best podcasts, arguably the single best podcast I've ever done, was why I refuse to be the cleanup man. Have I reversed my position on that? We just got finished talking just earlier today about the importance of black men being more strategic with their non-sexual attention, and I specifically shouted out ARC for being the one who led the charge in that respect.
If you say anything, you haven't changed your position on the cleanup man thing, but if you make any argument that implies that that black women are better off being strong, independent, and better off just doing bad all by themselves than being with a black man, with the everyday brother. You have in that regard.
How am I implying it? By merely citing something, I'm implying it now.
Citing a study where that showed that working class men engage in I don't know what, the 30 help out around the house 30% of the time versus upper class men help 37% of the time, and using that as empirical data that shows that they might as well not be with the working class everyday brother. I mean, there's been some things that you.
What I said was the citation. It was not an endorsement. See, what it tells me is that brothers don't understand. What it tells me is that brothers don't understand how things are done with regard to academia. That's what it says to me. Because
I know, but when
nobody that's familiar with academic norms would accuse someone of endorsing something simply because they cite a study.
But you're armed with all the studies on both sides. So when we having these discussions and you choose to bring up the study that enables that brand of the fuckery, I think you have made an argument that goes against the everyday brother and in favor of the sisterhood, because there's also studies that show that them being strong and independent and by themselves leads to bad outcomes.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you strategically throw out the self-reported study where females said that yes, the average guy that I was with, he was kind of mean to me and didn't help with the dishes, right. And then if use that as reason to say that they could be better, they may as well be better by themselves unless they can get with a high value man. It's like,
I didn't say that we'd be better by themselves. I said what they said about themselves. I didn't say I agree with it. I didn't say I endorse it. I was explaining the argument from their side, how they see it with regard to researchers. I didn't endorse it.
Okay, so but if you know that they full of, okay, so you didn't, okay, all right, there it is. That's I don't even want, because you're saying you didn't endorse it. Okay, I'll accept that you didn't endorse it.
There's another argument. How you gonna shit on MGTOWs when you're a MGTOW yourself? Okay, there's a difference between a confirmed bachelor and a MGTOW. A MGTOW is somebody who takes that position for political reasons. For example, I don't like the way that the courts, the family courts, child support, palimony, divorce, I don't like that the courts are mistreating men in this way. I don't like that society is mistreating men in this way, and so forth. Therefore, ergo, I'm going to go my own way. That is the basis of MGTOW. A confirmed bachelor is someone who doesn't get married for personal reasons, not political, not legal, not socio-political. There is a difference. So where's the flip-flop again? Moreover, both in print and in podcast form, I have critiques of MGTOW that predated when I made the loser remark by years.
Yeah, when I interviewed BGS, he did confirm that you have always felt that way about MGTOWs. That wasn't a flip-flop. That was just, I only brought that up because I was pointing out that there are some things that you have said that wasn't financial. If anything, it hurt financial, but you just was standing on what you believe. So I was acknowledging that, yes, you do that, but there are some times where you've I mean,
here again, this is what I'm talking about again, what people don't listen. The brother P that he said that's not true, Mumia. MGTOW is not a movement, much less a political movement. I thought you knew that. I never said it was a movement. When did I say that MGTOW was a movement or a political movement? I said MGTOW is based in politics, political issues, legal issues. That's what I said. I didn't say it was a movement. If you're a MGTOW, I mean, you don't have to listen. Don't take my word for this. Listen to the prominent MGTOWs themselves. They tell you why they're MGTOWs. It's political, it's legal, it's socio-political. It's not personal. So, I mean, come on. I have been mind-numbingly consistent on that over the years. Mind-numbingly. It's just the MGTOWs are mad because they can't refute the empirical evidence that I put up about home ownership, for example. single women own homes more than men do. Fact.
Because they have kids.
Whatever
the reason why it's
whatever
irrelevant.
the
Yeah,
reason,
that is a
I'm
fact.
looking at outcomes. For whatever reason, single women own more homes than men do. Single men. That's a fact. Fact. And we know in American life that for most Americans, most of the time, the single biggest investment you can make is in your home.
Yeah. Single men, especially single black men, do need to be buying houses. Talk about the wealth gap that can get closed in, I believe, a decade or two if black people just bought more property. That's just simple as that. But anyway, shout out to Emancipated Negress, who a while ago dropped a super chat. I don't know what was going on in the chat that made her.
Yeah, please email me at theobsidianfiles@gmail.com. You got a signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian waiting for you. Emancipated Negress, please contact me at theobsidianfiles@gmail.com. And please include your name and mailing address. I have a signed autographed copy of the Book of Obsidian waiting for you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
$50. So that makes you rich?
It's a start.
Appreciate you, Emancipated Negress. Somebody else, a few people sent some super chats that I probably missed. Me and Obsidian got far upfield talking about a few things, and I was supposed to be off the air at 3:00. Man, that conversation went fast. I didn't even feel like 36 minutes. But shout out to Mr. Shane Vicious. Back at it again. Sigmas are naturally aligned to be MGTOW. All right.
Yeah, let's continue this, because the argument is you're living a MGTOW lifestyle. Okay, so what is that lifestyle? Lay it out for me. Matter of fact, open up the floor. Lay out the MGTOW lifestyle. Lay it out for us. Since clearly I don't know what I'm talking about, even though I spent years in the white manosphere with MGTOWs, dyed in the wool MGTOWs that actually wrote about this extensively. Obviously, you guys know more about MGTOW than me. Lay it out for me. What is the MGTOW lifestyle? Lay it out for me. I talked to guys like Paul Elam for years. Knew him cheek by jowl, but you know it better than me, so lay it out for me. What is the MGTOW lifestyle that I don't understand?
Clue says you flipped on BFF suggesting Lil Big Nate's plan should include black women. I disagree with you on that one. Clue, even though Obsidian has always been hammering home about black women and their effery, he has been clear that he's in that sense, Obsidian has always been low-key, I would say a closeted pro-black, in that he do think black people should only deal with black people, and it's natural that races of people, especially in the same area, tend to deal with each other. He's been consistent on that one. So despite the effery, he do want to see black people get it together and have. He's been talking about strong black families from the beginning. So you can't have strong black families with Becky and Marisol at the convention. So I can't knock Obsidian on that one.
And here again, because I am cite something and I support it, that's not good enough. So when it comes to SYSBM, yeah, I support brothers' right to freedom of association. I do. Passport Brothers, I'm down with that. SYSBM, I'm down with that. Brothers want to go and get with Becky, I'm down with that. I support their right to do it. They're American just like me. They have the right to freedom of association. See, this is another problem that black folks have. And to be fair, this ain't just black women. It's a lot of black men too. A lot of brothers want to, we call it dick policing. A lot of brothers want to control what other people do instead of focusing on their life and what they do. I'm not interested in trying to control what other people do. I talk about what I do. When I made that video, why I refuse to be the cleanup man, not why you should refuse to be the cleanup man, why I refuse to be the cleanup man. You don't ever hear me talking about what other black men need to do. I'm talking about what I'm doing. Now, if you want to follow along, great. If you don't, great. I'm talking about what I'm doing. Far too many black people are focused on what everybody else is doing instead of talking about what they doing.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I want to hear from these brothers. Tell me what the MGTOW lifestyle is, because obviously I ain't got it right. So let me know what the MGTOW lifestyle is. Tell me. Bring it up here. Tell me. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm dead wrong about MGTOW. Why I'm a raving hypocrite about MGTOW. Tell me exactly what the lifestyle is. Break it down for me, because clearly Paul Elam don't know it, and all the other white MGTOWs who've been dealing with this for years don't know it. So you tell me what it is.
All right. We're supposed to be off the air at 3:00. I don't think nobody's I ain't even putting the link in the chat. And I don't think anybody got anything.
I mean, hey, look, I'm down. I mean, of course, you have your own schedule, but I mean, I'm just tired of this idea that Obsidian is inconsistent. Okay, well, show me where I'm inconsistent. And yes, I know that Paul Elam is an MRA. Let me be clear about this. He is the owner and proprietor of the world's largest, men's rights website. Many of those guys over there are indeed MGTOWs, and they write about it extensively. They write about it. Unlike black men who don't read and don't write like that, they write about it extensively. I know it. Okay? They document it. Okay? So I know about it well.
All right, cool. Kamazi in the building said, thank you, Bernard Riley and Obsidian, for the content. Respect 100. # Fridays be lit. Thank you for that. And this one, I've been leaving a lot of them up lately, but this one is going down. So if you missed this one from the beginning, you might want to become a Patreon, because I'm going to put this one on the Patreon page. This one is going to be getting taken down. Not that it was that bad or anything that was said, but I don't leave everything up. Even though I don't know, I might leave it up. I don't know. I don't know.
What's interesting about this is that, because the guys in the chat room saying, well, Paul Elam is a MRA, not a MGTOW. MGTOWs wouldn't give a damn. Well, if you don't give a damn, then why do you care about what I do? If MGTOWs don't give a shit about what I do, or don't give a shit anyway, why do they care about what I do either way? Do you see the contradictions here? Do you see what I'm talking about?
No, not really.
If MGTOWs don't care, then why do they care about me? If you don't care at all, if you don't give a shit about it, it doesn't matter what anybody says about MGTOW. If you don't care, if you're going your own way, it don't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they want to call me a flip-flopper, though. Projection.
All right. We getting up out of here. I'd like to thank everybody who participated. I was about to say participated in this conversation. We didn't do a panel. I think I like some good no panel one-on-ones for 3 hours. We might be doing some more of those. Panels be getting wild. But I'd like to thank everybody who watched this show today. Everybody who hit the like button, Cash App, Super Chat, did anything to participate in the show. A lot of people came through with heavy-handed Super Chats. Shout out to Emancipated Negress, Oheen and Mora from the Crypto Gang podcast, and Steph is Cold. Shout out to Steph is Cold. Everybody who came through with heavy-handed Super Chats who qualify as sponsors of today's show. Appreciate each and every one of you. And with that said, we are out of here. Peace.
Thank you.